Chapter 41. Yuhao tried to use his spiritual shock on Xie Huanyue, but he suddenly realized that his spiritual shock seemed to be blocked by his opponent's fat body. It's actually useless? Xie Huanyue, who had transformed into a meatball, exerted some strength and relied on the recoil to bounce into the air. His second soul ring suddenly lit up, and his originally short and thick right arm suddenly swung out. At the same time that Yuhao's spiritual shock took effect, his arm suddenly elongated, and accurately struck the three lives soul-crush cauldrons that were rushing towards him. Even though Xiao Xiao immediately used her cauldron quake, Xie Huanyue's arm was completely immune to her skill. With a sweep of his monstrous strength, he actually forced the three lives soul-crush cauldrons away. His fat ball-like body also fell from the sky. The arm that swept away the 3 lives soul-crush cauldrons stretched out once again, and went straight for Xiao Xiao. Yuhao grabbed Xiao Xiao's waist, and his body swayed like a ghost. He actually dodged Xie Huanyue's attack, and rolled on the ground with Xiao Xiao, avoiding the heavy weight of Xie Huanyue's body. Pfft! Xie Huanyue's huge body landed on the ground, but there was no heavy sound of collision. This time, he didn't bounce up either. Instead, he rolled on the ground and chased after Yuhao and Xiao Xiao. At this moment, Tang Dong had also defeated the Luo brothers. When he saw that the situation wasn't good, he rushed over to help. However, Tang Dong, catch Xiao Xiao. Yuhao tossed Xiao Xiao into the air, and Tang Dong caught her just in time. The third soul ring on the huge meatball finally lit up, and a purple light instantly illuminated his body, causing Xie Huanyue to look like a huge purple ball. Following his low roar, an intense purple halo suddenly erupted from his body. He was about to collide with Yuhao. Yuhao! Class monitor! Tang Dong and Xiao Xiao exclaimed at the same time. Just as the huge meatball was about to collide with Yuhao did something very strange. He actually stabbed his hands into the ground, and pulled them up with all his strength. Boom! A huge stone slab was pulled out just like that, and Yuhao placed the stone slab at 140 degrees in front of him. In the spectators' arena, Elder Xian's eyes lit up. Haha! This kid is really smart. He can even think of this. The huge meatball directly rolled up the ramp, and directly charged out of the arena. He didn't continue his next move, and fell off the stage just like that. Boom! Xie Huanyue eliminated. Silence. Everyone looked at Yuhao in disbelief. Is this possible? Teams to win is twos team victories wins team, has to team wins team to win. Teams to win to Yuhao's, teams to team he Xian's, he was Xiao Xiao to Luoyu, and to Xiao Zhao's, and to Xiao Zhao's twos to the stage, Xiao is on. To Zhao's. You were actually able to remain calm and think of a solution at that time. I really have to hand it to you. The two of them chattered non-stop. Alright. We've already won. Don't talk about it anymore. Hurry up and rest. In the spectators' arena, Elder Xian stood up, picked up a drumstick and a wine gourd, and walked off the stage. He muttered, "These 3 are interesting little fellows, especially this Yuhao. I can't even see the true color of his soul rings. It seems like only the pavilion master can see through it, but it's a pity that spiritual-type soul beasts are too rare." As for the teachers of Shrek Academy, they were still in a daze. They'd seen many geniuses before, but it was rare to see a freshman like Yuhao, who was able to calmly think of a way to break out of a hopeless situation when his life was in danger. The Outer Courtyard's Martial Soul Department's teaching director, Du Weiluan, came to Zhou Yi's side. "Teacher Zhou, congratulations on teaching such good students. Tell me about the child with the dragon martial spirit and twin martial spirit. I believe that these 2 kids have the qualifications to become core disciples of the Outer Courtyard." Zhou Yi felt that something was amiss. She hurriedly said, "Director Du, there's still Yuhao. He's the core of the team, as well as the team's captain. Everyone has seen his strength. He's extremely smart and flexible, and his strength isn't bad either. Why can't he become a core disciple? Du Wei-Luan stared blankly for a moment before shaking his head and saying, "He has 2 soul rings. To have 2 soul rings at the age of 11, he is indeed very talented. However, both of his soul rings are white. This kind of soul ring combination is simply wasting his talent. He should be an extremely rare spiritual type soul master. Have you ever thought about it? How many spiritual type soul beasts are there? I'm afraid that this kid won't be able to become a core disciple." After he finished speaking, he walked off the stage. Zhou Yi's entire body trembled. She didn't say that the color of Hui Yuhao's soul rings was fake. She suddenly thought of a plan to make the martial soul department regret it. Fan Yu was worthy of being Zhou Yi's lover. He immediately guessed what Zhou Yi was thinking. He patted her shoulder and said, "Don't worry. I'll help you. Yuhao is a core disciple of my soul tool department. His talent with soul tools is extremely frightening. The martial soul department will definitely regret giving up on Yuhao." Okay, today, the champion of this year's elimination tournament would be decided. Now that they'd reached the semifinals, they wouldn't back down no matter what. Compared to yesterday, there were even more spectators today. Of course, the spectators were all teachers. The students still had to continue with their lessons. However, the sloppy old man who'd appeared on the stage yesterday didn't appear again. The 12 students who'd entered the semi-finals stood together. The person in charge of drawing lots today was no longer the director of the Outer Courtyard's Martial Soul Department, Du Wei-Luan. A white-clothed old man had taken his place. When he saw this old man, Hui Yuhao couldn't help but be startled. This was because he'd seen this old man before. It was when he and Tang Dong had first met Ma Xiaotao in her berserk state. At that time, this old man had been the one in charge of the teachers who'd rushed over from Poseidon Island. Today, when the freshman assessment was in its final stage, his appearance clearly proved his lofty status in the academy. Even Du Wei-Luan, who held great authority in the outer courtyard, was only standing respectfully by his side. "Hello, young people. I'm Yen Xiaozhe, the 261st Dean of Shrek Academy." The white-clothed old man smiled as he spoke. His temperament was extremely gentle. He gave off the feeling that he was just an ordinary old man. What kind of status did Shrek Academy's dean have? As the dean of the continent's #1 academy, he had the qualifications to be on equal footing with any country's emperor. Furthermore, the dean of Shrek Academy was definitely a super expert on the level of a titled Doluo. He was a true peak existence on the continent of Doluo. I know that you're all very curious as to why I'm here. That's right. Normally speaking, even if the freshman assessment is in its final phase, the appearance of a vice dean is enough to show how much importance the academy places on you. However, I have to say that I'm very satisfied with the performance of this batch of freshmen. You're also the batch of freshmen with the best talent in the past 100 years. I'm very interested in all of you, so I'm here. Furthermore, I'll be watching all of your matches today. I hope that you'll be able to surprise me. Alright, let's start drawing lots. Class 1, Hui Yuhao's team, step forward and draw lots. Hui Yuhao would be the one to draw lots. They would be competing in the second arena. There were only 4 numbers in that box. 2 were number 1 and 2 were number 2. Class 5, Dai Huabin's team, draw lots. Hui Yuhao's body suddenly trembled when he heard the name, Dai Huabin. He clenched his fists tightly and trembled non-stop. His deep blue eyes instantly turned blood red, and his sky-blue hair was dyed with a few strands of blood red. However, they disappeared in an instant. However, Tang Dong could sense a terrifying killing intent that had been restrained. "What's wrong, Yuhao?" He patted Hui Yuhao. "That damned pervert! It's that damned pervert!" Hui Yuhao said hatefully in a low voice as he grabbed Tang Dong's hand. Only the two of them could hear what he was saying. He stared intently at the youth. He had a handsome, yet cold face. His long golden hair was parted in the middle of his head and draped over his shoulders. Upon closer inspection, one would realize that there were actually two pupils in his deep blue eyes. He was also slightly taller than his peers. It's really him. That damned pervert. Huiyuhao's eyes and hair were dyed with a hint of blood red once again. However, it disappeared again. However, Tang Dong saw it. When he saw Yuhao in this state, he couldn't help but tremble. He actually felt afraid just now. Spiritual world. Wahahaha. I've finally woken up. Ha 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 ha. It's been 10,000 years. I don't know if the main body has forgotten me. I don't know if that stupid arrow still recognizes me. It seems like the main body has 10 memory seals. A demonic figure appeared. You've actually woken up? The enormous golden moth looked at the blood-red figure in disbelief. That's right. Can't you see who he is? Slaughter, evil, destruction, destruction, and finality. All of these terrifying things are concentrated on him. The main body's killing intent has awakened him. He has no choice but to awaken. However, the main body can't use him yet, right? At the very least, he has to awaken the holy law of necromancy. Only then can he try to awaken you. So, you can dream on for now. A person who looked very similar to Huiyuhao said plainly. Fuck. You can't play like this. Huiyuhao and the other two had successfully won. Furthermore, as the main control-type Soul Master, Huiyuhao had personally taken action. Without using his martial soul, he had directly beaten up the 3 Soul Grandmasters. It felt like he was venting his anger. This made everyone extremely astonished. A control-type Soul Master's body was actually so strong, Dai Huabin had also won. From the looks of it, their battle was already set in stone. They could only wait until the afternoon. Tang Dong saw Huiyuhao's terrifying blood-red eyes, which were filled with killing intent. Tang Dong and Xiao Xiao felt that Huiyuhao's ruthless attitude today was very strange. They asked him about it, but he didn't say anything. When they reached the dormitory, Huiyuhao could only tell Huiyuhao that Dai Huabin was his older brother under Tang Dong's urging, as well as his dark history when he was young. Tang Dong was so angry when he heard this that he wanted to drag Huiyuhao to fight it out with Dai Huabin. However, he was stopped by Huiyuhao in the end. Don't interfere in the afternoon. I'll deal with him myself. If you really can't do it, use the golden light path. The assessment area was very quiet. Even though it was already the finals of the freshman assessment, there weren't any spectators. Shrek Academy's assessment system considered the privacy of every student's abilities as much as possible. Therefore, the assessment wasn't open to other students to spectate. All the students who weren't participating in the assessment continued to attend classes. As a result, this afternoon's finals had the fewest number of students in the assessment area. Of course, having fewer students didn't mean that there would be fewer spectators. Almost all the teachers from the outer courtyard who didn't have classes were gathered in the assessment area to spectate. Shrek Academy's dean, Yen Xiaozhe, had also personally come. He was accompanied by Du Weiluan and a group of teachers as he ascended the stage. The reason why Dean Yen Xiaozhe had personally come to spectate was because this batch of freshmen was exceptionally strong. Generally speaking, even students from Shrek Academy had to wait until they were in their 3rd year to reach 3-ringed. At the same time, having a 3-ringed cultivation was a prerequisite for a 3rd year to advance to a 4th year. However, there were already 3 3-ringed students in this batch of freshmen. With this kind of strength, they were practically guaranteed to enter the inner courtyard in the future. Yen Xiaozhe also wanted to see who the champion of this batch of freshmen would be. Comparatively speaking, he paid more attention to Huiyuhao's team. Wang Dong's radiant butterfly goddess was one of a kind, even in the Shrek Academy. Xiao Zhao's twin martial souls had even greater potential for development. Twin martial souls had been rare since the day soul masters had appeared in the continent of Doluo, and it was still the same even now. As the #1 academy in the world, the Shrek Academy only had 3 students with twin martial souls, including Xiao Xiao. As for the other 2, they were already disciples of the inner courtyard. Furthermore, they were both ranked in the top 10 of the inner courtyard. As for Yuhao, Du Weiluan had also explained his situation to Dean Yen Xiaozhe in detail. He was 11 years old this year, and possessed a rare spiritual type body soul. His soul power was at the peak of rank 29, and he was extremely intelligent. It could be said that his innate talent was extremely good. Unfortunately, his first and second soul rings were white, which wasted his innate talent. Furthermore, spiritual-type soul beasts were rare to begin with, so if he were to nurture them. Yen Xiaozhe also knew what Du Weiluan was going to say next. It was just that he was difficult to nurture, so it was better to give up. Truthfully speaking, Yen Xiaozhe didn't want to give up on such a good seedling. However, he had to admit that Yuhao's 2 white soul rings had indeed ruined his future. Furthermore, spiritual-type soul beasts were rare to begin with, so he had no choice but to seriously consider whether or not he should let Yuhao become a core disciple. Weiluan, who do you think will win today's match? Yen Xiaozhe asked with a smile. Du Weiluan said, I still think that Dai Huabin's team is slightly better. Although Yuhao's team has already defeated 2 teams led by soul elders, they're still very strong. Dai Huabin's team is definitely stronger in terms of overall strength. This is especially true for his 2 teammates, who aren't weak either. Both of them have a chance of entering the inner courtyard in the future. Yen Xiaozhe smiled and nodded. Right at this moment, a vigorous voice suddenly rang out. Director Du, since you think that Dai Huabin will win, then I'll say that the other team will win. Yen Xiaozhe didn't turn around, but a trace of a smile appeared on his face. Qian Duoduo, why are you here? I knew it was you the moment I smelled the stench of money on your body. The person who had just arrived was a sturdy man in his 50s. He didn't have a single wrinkle on his face, but his white hair resembled steel needles, which made him seem like he'd been through a lot. His tall and sturdy figure seemed to have been carved out of granite. He was at least 2 meters tall, and his back was broad. His shoulders were broad and his back was broad. His firm muscles didn't slacken because of his age. His bronze skin reflected a metallic luster under the sunlight, and there was a strong metallic smell coming from his body. Fan Yu was next to him. Yen Xiaozhe didn't turn around, but Du Weiluan had already turned around. A trace of astonishment flashed through his eyes before he hurriedly bowed and said, Hello, Vice Dean Qian. What brings you here? Vice Dean Qian Duoduo, who always had a smile on his face, was the one in charge of the Soul Tool Department's daily affairs. In the Soul Tool Department, he was only second to one person. His position was even higher than Du Weiluan's. Vice Dean Qian Duoduo chuckled and said, Aren't I just passing by? I just happened to hear you and Old Yen talking about who would win. I like to gamble. Old Yen, do you want to make a bet? Yen Xiaozhe finally turned around and laughed. You reek of money. You'll never wake up early if there's no profit to be made. I don't believe that your goal is so simple. If you want to covet the people of our martial soul department, you'll have to watch carefully. Qian Duoduo casually walked over to Yen Xiaozhe and sat down. He said casually, What do you mean by the people of your martial soul department? They're only new students, and they haven't really chosen their departments yet. Furthermore, they'll only decide which department to specialize in when they're in their 3rd year. Your martial soul department is only doing basic education. Are you going to bet or not? Hurry up. Yen Xiaozhe wasn't fooled by Qian Duoduo's provocation. He smiled and shook his head. I'm not betting. Old Qian, you're trying to fish money out of me. I'll tell on you to Lin or later. The muscles on Qian Duoduo's face twitched, and he said with grief and indignation, Stop it. You were already good at acting shamelessly when you were young. Compared to you, my character is much better. You always use Lin as a shield. Don't you have any shame? Yan Xiaozhi glanced at Qian Duoduo's indignant expression and chuckled. All right, what do you want to bet? Qian Duoduo revealed a smile once again. If my team wins, you have to let me choose a new student from the Martial Soul Department to join the Soul Tool Department within a year. You're not allowed to obstruct me in any way. Yan Xiaozhi snorted coldly. I knew that you were up to no good. I'm not betting. Qian Duoduo calmly said, Don't be anxious. Let me finish first. I've taken a fancy to that Yuhao. I heard from Fan Yu that he's extremely frightening in the Soul Tool Department, so I picked him. I heard that your Martial Soul Department can't afford to nurture him, right? Why don't you give him to my Soul Tool Department? Yan Xiaozhi was suddenly stunned. He looked at Yuhao, who had an indifferent expression on his face. This old guy actually came for this kid? Is his talent in the Soul Tool Department really that frightening? To be honest, he didn't want to give up on this kid. He'd reached rank 29 at the age of 11, and his talent was extremely good. When he reached rank 30, he could go to the Great Star Do Forest to try his luck and catch a 1,000-year spiritual type soul beast to make up for his shortcomings. However, Yan Xiaozhi looked at Qian Duoduo and asked, How frightening is this kid's talent in soul tools? Qian Duoduo laughed. It's extremely frightening. Did you know? This kid, Yuhao, is already a Class 4 soul engineer. He didn't mention that Yuhao had already created a Class 5 soul tool. He had his own plans. What did you say? Yan Xiaozhi's pupil shrank. He was in disbelief. Even Du Weiluan was in disbelief. Yuhao can actually create a Class 4 soul tool? How is that possible? Unless he's a rank 40 soul ancestor, there's no way he can create a Class 4 soul tool. Nothing is impossible. Yuhao's spiritual power made up for his lack of soul power. No matter what, you have to give this kid to me. I'm certain that this kid will create a new faction of soul tools in the future. In fact, he was right. 9 years later, Yuhao created a new faction that transcended the century. Yan Xiaozhi thought for a moment, then said, Let me think about it. All right. When Yuhao wins, you can give him to me if you don't want him. Are you so sure that he'll win? Haha. Just wait and see. Yuhao hasn't used his full strength yet. On Dai Huabin's side, the auras of the White Tiger and the Netherworld Civet were completely fusing. It was a very strange feeling. The White Tiger seemed to be devouring the Netherworld Civet, and intense soul power undulations erupted from their fused bodies. Black and white lights completely fused together as a golden halo spread out. It was a completely sublime feeling. The combination of the evil-eyed White Tiger and the Netherworld Civet created a huge figure that was more than 8 meters long and 2 meters tall in the center of the assessment area. It was Dai Huabin and Zhu Lu's martial soul fusion skill, the Netherworld White Tiger. The huge White Tiger's body seemed a little transparent, and it was completely illusory. However, Dai Huabin and Zhu Lu's figures had already disappeared. On Yuhao's side, an illusory white gold dragon and a dreamlike golden vertical eye gradually came together. The dragon opened its huge wings and enveloped the vertical eye. Suddenly, a bright light shone, and a strange white-gold vertical eye quietly appeared. There were illusory white-gold dragon wings behind this vertical eye. Blue, purplish gold, and white gold colors condensed in the center of the vertical eye. It seemed like it could shoot out at any time. The huge illusory white tiger roared into the sky and pounced towards the vertical eye. Its huge claws grabbed at the vertical eye. Boom! The compressed tricolored light suddenly burst out. It directly hit the illusory white tiger. The light was like a straight path. After that, the light was like a folding fan, and it suddenly opened 120 degrees. It formed a fan-shaped path, and the surrounding space started to crack. Everywhere within 80 meters of the light was dazzling. A fan-shaped path was left behind. 2 golden statues stood in the center of the path. They were Dai Huabin and Zhu Lu. Their expressions were that of shock and fear. This couldn't be considered a test anymore. No one would have thought that such a terrifying battle would occur in a competition between a Soul Elder and a Soul Grandmaster. This was like a life-and-death battle between Soul Kings. It wasn't that the referee didn't want to make a move. It was just that he was completely stunned. Furthermore, he felt that he couldn't resist the strength of the golden path. Yuhao and Tang Dong supported each other. It was obvious that they had expended too much energy. Xiao Xiao finally woke up from her daze. She looked at Yuhao and Tang Dong in disbelief. When she saw that the 2 of them couldn't stand properly, she hurriedly supported them. The 3 of them looked at each other and laughed. The 3 of them looked at the stunned referee at the same time. We've won. Yes, you've won. Yuhao's team has won. I announce. The champion of the freshman assessment is Yuhao's team. It wasn't the referee's voice. It was Dean Yen Xiaojia's voice. Everyone looked at the figure. A tall, middle-aged man in his 50s suddenly appeared beside Yuhao. He grabbed the stunned Yuhao's left arm. Yen Xiaojia. You actually dared to tempt a core disciple of the Soul Tool Department? Are you tired of living? He looked at Yen Xiaojia and said angrily. Everyone sucked in a breath of air. When they saw this person, they were all shocked. They knew who this person was. He was the vice dean of the Soul Tool Department, Qian Duoduo, who was on the same level as Yen Xiaojia. He actually came to snatch someone away? Wait, didn't he say that Yuhao was a core disciple of the Soul Tool Department? That can't be right. Yuhao's talent for cultivation was already so good. His talent in soul tools wasn't bad either? What kind of monster was he? Everyone stared in disbelief at Yuhao, who was still rooted to the ground. When did Yuhao become a core disciple of the Soul Tool Department? Yen Xiaojia thought to himself. He was a bit puzzled. He didn't know that Yuhao was already a core disciple of the Soul Tool Department. However, he suddenly thought of something. If Yuhao could create a Class 4 Soul Tool at the age of 11, he would definitely be taken good care of by the Soul Tool Department. It wouldn't be good if he didn't become a core disciple. So that's how it was. Yuhao was already a core disciple of the Soul Tool Department. That's a bit difficult. If worst comes to worst, I'll just pretend to be one. Qian Duoduo, watch how I'll steal him from you. Qian Duoduo, don't you know about first come, first served? Yuhao has already forgiven me. In other words, he's already accepted the privileges I gave him. He's now a disciple of the Martial Soul Department's inner courtyard. Yen Xiaojia suddenly appeared in front of Qian Duoduo. He grabbed Yuhao's right arm and pulled it in front of him. However, Qian Duoduo didn't just stand there. He pulled with all his strength, and they were now even. It was a bit of a pity for Yuhao. His arms were almost torn off. You? Yen Xiaojia. I've seen shameless people before, but I've never seen someone as shameless as you. Yuhao was originally a core disciple of the Soul Tool Department. You actually want to steal him from the Soul Tool Department? Dream on. Qian Duoduo clenched his other hand into a fist and punched towards Yen Xiaojia. Yuhao has already promised me. He's also received an inner courtyard disciple badge. He's already an inner courtyard disciple. If you want to steal him, you'll have to give me a valid reason. Yen Xiaojia grabbed Qian Duoduo's fist. Do you still have any fucking shame? Where did Yuhao get an inner courtyard badge from? Qian Duoduo angrily looked at Yen Xiaojia. For such a freak, I'm willing to be shameless. It wasn't easy for us to find a good seedling who can become the next pavilion master. How can we let him go? Yen Xiaojia wasn't willing to be outdone. He's even using the pavilion master as his backing. You? Qian Duoduo didn't know what to say. Indeed, if Yuhao was given enough time, he could definitely become the next pavilion master of Shrek's Poseidon Pavilion. He knew how important the Poseidon Pavilion's pavilion master was to Shrek. This was Shrek's Poseidon. Even he had to consider it. However, he only considered it for a moment before he reacted. He was furious as he said, "All right. Yan Xiaozhe, you're good. You're actually using your master to intimidate me? If you have the guts, make Yuhao take out his inner courtyard badge. If he can take it out, I'll consider it." "Humph. Fine, I'll take it out. Yuhao, hurry up and take out the badge from your pocket," Yan Xiaozhe said. Everyone silently admired these two old cows eating young grass deans. Yuhao said helplessly. "Cut the crap. Hurry up and take it out." Both deans are grabbing my arms. How am I supposed to take it out?" Yuhao said weakly. The two of them were stunned. Only then did they remember that they were grabbing onto Yuhao's arms. They hurriedly let go. "Tsk, it hurts a little. I'm finally free," Yuhao muttered. "Hurry up and take it out," Yan Xiaozhe said as he looked at Yuhao. Yuhao tilted his head. "When did Dean Yan give me the inner courtyard badge?" He subconsciously touched his pocket. Suddenly, Yuhao's body trembled. "This is..." He hurriedly took it out. It was a cute Freak Shrek's badge. The words, "Inner Courtyard," were engraved on it. Yuhao looked at the badge in his hand in disbelief. "Where did this badge come from?" "Fuck. Yan Xiaozhe. You're actually acting shamelessly. So that's how it is. When you grabbed Yuhao, you stuffed this badge into his pocket. Can you be any more shameless?" Qian Duo flew into a rage. Old Qian. Don't forget. You have to carefully consider whether or not you want to give Yuhao to my martial soul department. Yan Xiaozhe had a look of victory on his face. "Fuck you." Qian Duo couldn't hold it in any longer. He immediately punched Yan Xiaozhe. Yan Xiaozhe wasn't willing to be outdone. He immediately started to wrestle with Qian Duo. Yuhao was truly speechless. These two people are actually fighting over me. Why does it seem like they're fighting over a wife? Wait a minute. If that's the case, doesn't that mean I'm the wife? Yuhao's face was filled with black lines. Everyone was stunned. Two of the top figures of the Shrek Academy were actually fighting over a youth. If news of this were to spread, Yuhao's name would definitely become famous. Yuhao hurriedly retreated. He could only helplessly watch the two of them fight. He was truly helpless. He looked at the badge in his hand. After that, he suddenly thought of something and hurriedly took out his Class 5 Soul Engineer badge. "Dean Yan, this is my Soul Tool Department's badge," he shouted towards Yan Xiaozhe. "What?" Yan Xiaozhe suddenly stopped. So did Qian Duo. Actually, Qian Duo couldn't beat Yan Xiaozhe if they used their martial souls. However, their relationship wasn't bad. They couldn't really fight. When he saw the Class 5 Soul Engineer badge in Yuhao's hand, his eyes brightened. He hurriedly took it and waved it in front of Yan Xiaozhe. "Ha! Yan Xiaozhe, do you see this? Yuhao is already a Class 5 Soul Engineer. He's the most talented in history. Even the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy doesn't have a Class 5 Soul Engineer at such a young age. Let's see what you can do." This is really a Class 5 Soul Engineer badge. Old Qian, didn't you say Yuhao was a Class 4 Soul Engineer? Why is he a Class 5 Soul Engineer now? Oh? Did I say that? Why don't I remember? Don't pretend. Everyone was in disbelief. This was because they heard the words Class 5 Soul Engineer. Yuhao is actually a Class 5 Soul Engineer? How is this possible? He's only rank 29. Even Tang Dong, Xiao Xiao, Dai Huabin, and Huang Chutian looked at Yuhao in disbelief. Is he really the reincarnation of a monster? Just as Yan Xiaozhe and Qian Duo were about to fight again, a female voice rang out. "Enough. The two of them stopped at the same time. Yan Xiaojia's face twitched. He seemed to be afraid, like a mouse meeting a cat. He muttered helplessly, "Why is Xian Lin here?" On the other hand, Qian Duoduo was as happy as if he had found a backer. "My dear wife, you're finally here. Hurry up and make a decision for your husband. Your husband can't beat Old Yen, this shameless bastard. Old Yen is trying to steal our Soul Tool Department's genius." Qian Duoduo shouted happily. Everyone was shocked. Vice Dean Qian's wife? Everyone turned to look at the source of the voice. Lizha was an extremely beautiful woman. She was about 1.7 meters tall, and looked like she was in her 30s. She had taken good care of herself, and her skin was very fair. Her black hair was tied up neatly, and her white shirt and pants were trimmed with gold. She was the dean of the Soul Tool Department, Xian Lin. "Yan Xiaojia, you really have some tricks up your sleeve. You actually dare to deceive and steal my Soul Tool Department's genius? Do you think I don't exist?" Xian Lin stood in front of Yan Xiaojia, not giving him any face. Qian Duoduo also stuck his head out from behind her and provoked, "That's right. Do you think my wife is invisible? Do you think my wife doesn't exist? You shut up too. You're already so old, yet you're still so childish." Xian Lin scolded Qian Duoduo. "Yes, I'll shut up, I won't talk too much." Qian Duoduo hurriedly covered his mouth. When Yan Xiaojia saw Xian Lin his domineering aura suddenly deflated, and he immediately became terrified. He didn't know what to do. "All right, all of you stop arguing." An old voice rang out from all directions. The three of them trembled and immediately bowed in the air. "There's no need to bow. I think it's better to let this child dual cultivate. He can learn the knowledge of the martial soul department and soul tools. This way, it'll be beneficial to both sides. Do you guys agree? Dual cultivate." The three of them were in disbelief. Ever since the establishment of the academy, many people had chosen to dual cultivate. However, none of them had persevered until the end. They either chose to become soul masters, soul engineers, blacksmiths, or alchemists. However, none of them had persevered until the end. The three of them discussed for a moment, then bowed towards the sky at the same time. "Understood." Yuhao and everyone else were stunned. Who was the owner of this old voice? Who could make the three deans so obedient? Hee. The old voice laughed, and didn't say anything else. After that, the three of them told Yuhao that he could dual cultivate. Yuhao was also rather satisfied with this outcome. Just like that, Yuhao's name resounded throughout the outer and inner courtyard. He was a monster, an extremely monstrous monster. That was how everyone who witnessed it evaluated Yuhao. After that, it was Yuhao's time to study hard and improve himself. Yuhao spent his days cultivating, eating, earning money, crafting soul tools, and sleeping. Yuhao wasn't in a hurry to become an inner courtyard disciple. Furthermore, he wanted to continue studying in the outer courtyard, and Yan Xiaojia agreed. If Yuhao wanted to enter the inner courtyard, all he had to do was hang up his emblem. It could be said that he could come and go freely in the outer and inner courtyard. There was also a small incident during this period. Wu Feng didn't agree with Yuhao being the class monitor, so she challenged Yuhao to a duel. In the end, she was completely defeated. After that, no one dared to challenge him anymore. In the blink of an eye, autumn passed, winter passed, and spring arrived. 8 months had passed. Yuhao, Tang Dong, and Xiao Zhao's first year in the Shrek Academy was coming to an end. After this, it was time for break. Every year, the Shrek Academy would have a 1-month break. This month wasn't for the students to relax or go sightseeing. Instead, it was for them to master everything that they had learned over the past 11 months, and to cultivate diligently. After the 1-month break, it was time for the entrance exam. Students who couldn't pass the entrance exam would be eliminated. Therefore, the break was the busiest and most tiring period for the students, who dared to really relax and rest. Yuhao and Tang Dong had already reached rank 30 a few months ago. However, they didn't search for their third soul ring. They continued to compress their soul power and cultivate. The Shrek Academy had already told them that they could still cultivate without soul rings. They could accumulate their soul power until they absorbed a soul ring, and their soul power would instantly soar. The two of them had also passed their 12th birthday, and were already 12-year-old youth. Yuhao had become even more beautiful and handsome, while Tang Dong had become even more handsome. Xiao Xiao had also passed her 12th birthday, and was much more beautiful than before. She had also successfully reached rank 29, and was working hard to break through the bottleneck of rank 30. After that, the teachers arranged for them to have a break. Why do I feel so weird? After Yuhao, Tang Dong, and Xiao Xiao finished eating the grilled fish that Yuhao had roasted, they separated while crying. After Yuhao left the Shrek Academy, he naturally had to return to the Great Star Do Forest first. He opened his enormous golden heavenly moth wings and flew in a certain direction, in the outer regions of the Great Star Do Forest, in a towering ancient tree hole. Who did this? A frightening roar rang out, and a blue figure caressed the enormous dark golden bear that was lying on the ground. The bear was at least 7 meters long, and was covered in blood. It was obvious that it was dead. This was a dark golden terraclaw bear that was more than 70,000 years old. Father Bear, what happened to you? Who did this? The blue figure was Yuhao. It seems like it's been dead for a few days. Yuhao muttered as he caressed Father Bear's corpse. Who did this? Even a titled Dolua wouldn't be a match for Papa Xiong. Who did this? Yuhao roared into the sky as tears streamed down his face. Russell! There was a commotion. Who is it? Yuhao looked to the side and was stunned. 3 figures appeared, 1 big and 2 small. They were all dark golden terraclaw bears. Mother Bear! Demao and Ermao! You're fine. That's great. Yuhao was elated as he rushed over and hugged the 2 little fellows that were already 2 meters long. Demao and Ermao also squatted down and rubbed against Yuhao. Yuhao looked at Mother Bear. She seemed to be hurt. What happened? What happened to Father Bear? Mother Bear, what happened to your injuries? Yuhao asked anxiously. After that, Mama Xiong told Yuhao about what had happened. It turned out that 3 soul masters in black had come here a few days ago. However, they were all soul Dolu. They targeted the dusk gold terraclaw bear's family. Under Papa Bear's protection, Mama Bear escaped with the 2 little fellows. When they came back, they saw the corpse on the ground. Mama Bear couldn't bear to bury the corpse. It was her husband after all. Asterisk, asterisk. I, Yuhao, swear that I won't let them off. A loud roar echoed outside. Then, with the help of Yuhao and the 3 bears, they buried Father Bear. The Star Do Core area, eh? Kid, you're back? A huge dark golden bear looked at Yuhao. If there were any titled Dolua from the older generation present, they would definitely be shocked. This was because this bear was one of the 10 great savage beasts, the dark golden terraclaw bear lord. Uncle Bear Lord, have you seen my sister? Yuhao asked. He wasn't afraid of Bear Lord at all. How would I know? Go ask your sister's best friend, the infernal demon dragon, or ask Bai Ji. Don't disturb your grandpa Bear's nap. Bear Lord closed his eyes and took a nap. She's really asleep? Sister Infernal Demon Dragon went into seclusion a few years ago. She can't have come out so soon. I should go find Aunt Bai. Yuhao muttered to himself. That was one of the 5 great forbidden zones of the human race. It was a place of great danger. A place of great danger, Yuhao. You're back. A girl with dark green hair looked at Yuhao. Aunt Bai, where's my sister? Yuhao asked. Lord Auspicious Beast is here. She's in seclusion. She said she wants to break through a bottleneck. The girl with dark green hair was the Emerald Swan, Bai Ji. I see. Then I won't disturb her. Yuhao was a little disappointed and was about to leave. Wait. Bai Ji called out to Yuhao, who was about to leave. Yuhao stopped and saw Bai Ji holding a gold-and-silver scale. It seemed to be a dragon scale. Your sister asked me to give this to you. It can protect you. It's even stronger than the beast gods. Because it contains god power. God power. Yuhao took the scale and looked at it. Help me thank my sister. Goodbye. Yuhao opened his golden wings and flew away from this place. That direction, is it the extreme north? The extreme north's outermost region, the extreme north, is a forbidden zone for humans. Soul beasts roam about. Danger, danger, danger. Yuhao read the words on the signboard. Was it that dangerous? He walked in without hesitation. Brother Skydream, have we arrived? Yuhao connected with his spiritual world. All right, you can stand here. A ray of light shot out from his forehead. It was an extremely handsome golden-haired youth. He was dressed in white and had a pair of golden moth wings on his back. It was Brother Skydream's human form. Brother Skydream, I didn't expect you to be so handsome. Yuhao said. Ha ha ha. That's a must. I'm the embodiment of wisdom and beauty. Cough cough. All right, I won't say any more nonsense. Yuhao, stand further away. Brother Skydream said seriously. Yuhao hurriedly retreated. Skydream took a deep breath and shouted at the top of his lungs, Small? Ice. Ice. Boom. It spread throughout the entire extreme north. Boom. In the distance, a huge figure rushed towards Skydream at an extremely fast speed. More accurately, it was flying towards him. Yuhao saw it clearly. It was a huge dragon. It had 2 large horns on its head, icy blue and jade-green scales covering its entire body. It also had a pair of blue-green wings and a long tail. However, what made Yuhao feel strange was that its tail was a jade-green scorpion's tail. It was already over 100 meters long. Damn you, Skydream. You haven't changed at all. Also, don't call me Little Ice. The huge dragon stopped in front of Skydream. Don't be like that. My Little Ice, we're already married. It's not like I can't call you more intimate. Skydream laughed. Say that again if you dare. Who's married to you? The huge dragon roared angrily. After that, it gradually shrank and turned into a beautiful 20-year-old girl. She had a pair of jade-green ponytails and a jade-green gothic dress. She immediately rushed over and twisted Skydream's ear. Ah! Softer, softer. Ice, look at who's behind me. Skydream hurriedly said. Eh. The girl finally saw Yuhao behind Skydream. Yuhao. The girl's face was filled with joy. She ignored Skydream and ignored him. She immediately rushed in front of Yuhao and hugged him. That's great. You're here. It's been 10,000 years. You're finally here. The girl was extremely excited. Ice, why? Why do you like him so much, but not me? Skydream, who was wearing a green hat, said indignantly. What can you do? Yuhao almost couldn't see us. 10,000 years ago, his aura suddenly became abnormally weak. Didn't we all think that he was about to die? Now that we see that he's fine, of course we're excited. If it's you, I only need to personally go to the slaughtering grounds to see you. The girl glanced at Skydream. What's going on? Yuhao still couldn't react. What, 10,000 years ago? What, I'm about to die? What's going on? That means that Yuhao has 10 memory seals on him, right? The green-haired girl and Skydream discussed together. If the older titled Dolo was here, he would definitely be extremely shocked. She was one of the 3 mysterious vicious beasts of the 10 great savage beasts, the Ice Empress. She was originally the Ice Jade Empress Scorpion, but for some reason, she had the bloodline of dragons and could become the Ice Jade Empress Scorpion. No one knew her cultivation. According to a super Doloa who had been to the extreme north, her strength was 600,000 years. This was because the Ice Empress had once defeated him with a single look. However, He was sure that it wasn't as simple as 600,000 years. However, the Ice Empress didn't seem to be willing to kill people. She only defeated outsiders every time and let them go. Therefore, no one was willing to provoke this vicious beast. Yes. I don't know what happened. I asked Hantian and the old man, but they didn't plan to tell me. I'm at least a beast god king now. I'm a beast god king who has grasped the power of primal chaos. They didn't even tell me. Skydream was a little unhappy. Hantian and the old man have woken up? The Ice Empress was a little surprised. Yes. Hantian was the first to wake up, and the old man was the second. I really don't know what they're doing, Skydream said angrily. Maybe it's not the time yet. Maybe they've experienced something incredible. But damn Skydream, you're good. You've also become a beast god king. The Ice Empress said. Also? Don't tell me, Ice, you've also become a beast god king? Skydream was in disbelief. The Snow Empress and Little Bai have both reached that level. Furthermore, we've both grasped a trace of primal chaos. The Ice Empress nodded. Fuck. Skydream was in disbelief. Let's not talk about it anymore. Let's start. I haven't been to the spiritual world in a long time. The Ice Empress said. Alright. I'm really the most miserable man in the world. I actually pushed my own wife to my own brother. Skydream said sorrowfully. You shut up. The Ice Empress' face instantly turned red. Yuhao, who had been staring blankly at the side, could finally move. What were you guys discussing just now? Why were you so mysterious? Yuhao didn't understand. Yuhao, this beautiful big sister is the first soul ring of your second martial soul. You have to cherish her, Skydream said. However, Yuhao felt that there was something strange about this sentence. Alright? Yuhao, listen up. Fusing with me might be very dangerous. You might explode and die. However, if you succeed, your strength will improve by leaps and bounds. Are you ready? The Ice Empress looked at Yuhao very seriously. Yuhao was stunned. Might die. However, his eyes were instantly filled with determination. Come. No matter how painful it is, I'll bear it. Alright. As expected of Yuhao. Then, I'm going to start. If someone was in the extreme north right now, they would see a jade-green pillar of light that reached the heavens. Within the pillar of light, Yuhao hugged his head and screamed into the sky. Right now, he was extremely terrifying. Many parts of his body had split open, and fresh blood was flowing out, dyeing his body red. Following that, 10 pitch-black chains appeared on his body. The chains tightly bound him, and there were strange patterns on them. Boom! All of a sudden, the first chain began to tremble. Gotcha! A thin crack suddenly appeared on the first chain, and a strange aura slowly seeped out from the crack and entered Yuhao's head. However, the 10 chains suddenly tightened. Ah! Who am I? That's right. I'm Tang Yu. I'm the god of emotions. I'm Yuhao. Yuhao screamed in pain. He grabbed the first chain with both hands and squeezed it with all his might. Break for me! He roared into the sky. Gotcha! Just like that, the first chain was crushed by Yuhao's hands miraculously. Boom! A terrifying aura suddenly burst out. Skydream, who was outside the green light, suddenly trembled. His face was filled with excitement. The first seal has been broken. After an unknown period of time, a field of white snow. Whoosh! A hand suddenly emerged from the pile of snow, and then supported itself on the ground. It was an absolutely beautiful youth who wasn't wearing any clothes. His beauty occupied most of his body, and if one didn't look carefully, they wouldn't be able to see his handsome side. His ice-blue hair reached his hips. He opened his eyes, which were as deep as the universe. He stretched his neck and let out a long howl. This is my era. I, Yuhao, am back. His voice shook the heavens and the earth. His body was suddenly covered by ice-blue scales, ice-blue dragon claws, ice-blue dragon horns, and enormous ice-blue dragon wings. He held an ice-blue halberd in his left hand. A blood-red soul ring with 6 golden patterns appeared around his body. This was his second martial soul. Frost Dragon King. His spine was also glowing. It was his torso bone. He looked at the 9 different colored scorpion tails in front of him. However, the 9 tails were connected together. They were like an open folding fan. Layla? Your external attachment soul bone? Yuhao muttered. He touched it with his right hand, and the tails actually magically turned into rays of light and fused into his body. Then, 9 different colored scorpion tails suddenly emerged from Yuhao's tail. From afar, Yuhao looked like a monster with 9 scorpion tails. It's really an external soul bone. Yuhao was a little surprised. He already had 3 soul bones now. Furthermore, they were all heaven-defying. Layla, thank you. Yuhao clenched his fist. With a thought, the 9 tails were retracted at the same time, and so was his martial soul. It seems like every seal doesn't just seal my memories. There are also some good things sealed. Yuhao muttered. Forget it, let's not think so much. Let's hurry up and find the 3rd soul ring of my first martial soul. Yuhao put on a blue windbreaker. Then, a pair of golden moth wings suddenly spread out from his back. With a whoosh, he broke through the sky and disappeared. God Realm, Light Rain. You've awakened. Although you might not recognize me yet, you'll definitely remember your brother after your 4th seal is removed. Chapter 42. The advancement test this time would be held in the beast dueling area, where they would have to fight with real soul beasts. The final score would be 60 points, and the full score would be 100 points. There was also the so-called super full score. Passing the test would allow one to advance. Beast dueling area. As the largest area in the entire Shrek Academy, it was also the largest building in the Shrek Academy. The beast dueling area was as large as all of the Martial Soul Department's teaching buildings, dormitories, and Shrek Plaza. In the entire continent of Dolua, it was extremely rare for an academy to be able to rear soul beasts. To be able to do so at the scale of the Shrek Academy's beast dueling area was even rarer. Even the imperial families of the various empires wouldn't do such a thing. Rearing soul beasts wasn't easy. They had to maintain the wild nature of the soul beasts, and different soul beasts had different eating habits. They also had to ensure their safety, and they had to be controlled. The amount of investment required was something that normal soul master academies wouldn't even dare to think about. The beast dueling arena was oval-shaped, with a long diameter of 187 meters and a short diameter of 155 meters. The highest point was about 57 meters. From the outside, the entire building was divided into 4 levels. The bottom 3 levels were arched, and there were stone pillars on both sides of each arch. The 4th level was decorated with walls, and there were 4 large arched doors facing each other. These arched doors were the entrances to the Beast Dueling Arena's viewing gallery. The viewing gallery inside the Beast Dueling Arena was divided into 4 groups, from the lowest to the highest. Under special circumstances, the Shrek Academy would divide the viewing gallery into specific areas. The entire project was vast and spectacular. It could even be described as glorious and grand. Everyone was lining up to receive their watch. Tang Dong immediately saw Dai Huabin, who wasn't far away. He nudged Yuhao with his elbow and said, "Look, Dai Huabin and the others are here." Yuhao smiled and walked towards Dai Huabin. Huabin had been paying attention to them, and he naturally saw Yuhao walking over. His entire body trembled once again. Yuhao's strength had embarrassed him quite a bit last time. He still hadn't left that shadow. He really wanted to kill Yuhao. Yuhao walked over and smiled as he patted Dai Huabin's shoulder. "Remember the bet," he said slowly. Afterwards, he didn't even look back. Damn it. Dai Huabin's eyes turned bloodshot. Director Du was also there. He was the chief examiner this time. On the high platform, Du Weiluan's voice rang out, "Let the examination begin. Year 2, Class 1. Then Class 2. Ran Huabin the Beast Dueling Arena." Perhaps it was because there had been too many battles here in the past. Every single student from Shrek Academy had a strong desire to fight when they came here. That was why the Beast Dueling Arena existed. It was also why the students who graduated from the Shrek Academy became outstanding soul masters that the various empires fought over. When Du Weiluan saw that Yuhao was the first to take the test, he immediately focused. He wanted to see what kind of changes this kid would have in a month. He was the first student in history who'd persisted. Even the pavilion master thought very highly of him. He wanted to know what Yuhao's strength was like in a month's time. He should have 3 rings by now. A 12-year-old with 3 rings. He wasn't any worse than ancestor Tang San from 10,000 years ago. Yuhao walked to the center of the arena. 2 teachers were in charge of acting as referees. This was to ensure the students' safety. The referee on the left asked, "What do you major in?" Yuhao said respectfully, "Control." The referee said, "Choose the soul beast you want to take the test with. Remember, control. You only have 1 chance to take the test, so you have to be careful. Soul beasts are ranked in units of 100 years, from 100 to 1,000 years. Yuhao's eyes flashed. He said in a deep voice, "I choose 1,000-year soul beast." 1,000-year? Are you sure? The examiner thought he'd heard wrong. Such a young kid wanted to fight 1,000-year soul beast? To fight 1,000-year soul beast, one had to be at least a soul elder. This kid, yes, 1,000-year soul beast. Yuhao's voice grew louder. Everyone heard him. Everyone was in disbelief. He wanted 1,000-year soul beast the moment he came up? He was courting death. On the stage, Director Du was shocked. Could it be that Yuhao had really become a soul elder? It couldn't be, right? Start the test. The referee gestured to the distance. The sound of gears clicking could be heard, and a huge iron gate slowly opened in the distance. Whoosh! A blue light suddenly flashed out from the deep cave. Its speed was incomparably fast, and in an instant, it covered a distance of 10 meters and pounced towards Yuhao. It was about 3 meters long and 1 meter tall. Its icy blue fur fluttered in the wind, and its blue eyes were filled with madness. It was actually one of the overlords of the extreme north, the Direfield Wolf King. Everyone held their breath. This was a real soul beast. It wasn't a picture from a textbook. Foolish people. Impudent. Everyone heard a soft roar. Following that, they saw 3 terrifying blood-red soul rings with 6 golden patterns explode out. The terrifying aura that seemed to come from an ancient wild beast suddenly burst out. Everyone seemed to see a layer of faint red light spread out from its body. At this moment, its small body was as intimidating as an ancient dragon. Whoa! The Direfield wolf seemed to have met a terrifying monster, and immediately crawled on the ground obediently. It instantly submitted. It was so scared that it pissed its pants. At the same time, countless sorrowful cries rang out from the deep caves in the great beast dueling arena. What did a red soul ring represent? Even ordinary people knew. A red soul ring represented a 100,000-year soul ring. It represented a soul ring from a top-grade soul beast. Every 100,000-year soul ring was an incomparably majestic existence. Not to mention the students, even the teachers present didn't have a 100,000-year soul ring. However, at this moment, Yuhao not only revealed his scarlet 100,000-year soul ring, he even released 3 of them at once. Regardless of whether it was the visual or the terrifying aura, the great beast dueling arena was instantly silenced by that terrifying pressure. It wasn't only the soul beasts in the great beast dueling arena that reacted. All the teachers and students present had a strong reaction. They only felt as if there was an unparalleled and terrifying vicious beast in front of them. Their extreme fear caused them to subconsciously release their martial souls and go into a defensive stance with all their might. A few of the more cowardly female students even cried out. Even the teachers had pale faces as they looked at the graceful figure standing in the center of the arena in horror. Du Wei-Luan had already stood up from his seat. 8 soul rings flickered on his body. Facing the aura of a 100,000-year soul beast, he wasn't an exception. He immediately released his martial soul. He looked at Yuhao with disbelief and a trace of fear. No. This is impossible. He's only 12 years old. How can he have a 100,000-year soul ring? But this is definitely the aura of a 100,000-year soul beast. Furthermore, this aura is much stronger than any 100,000-year soul beast I've ever seen. What is he doing? Wait a minute. Wasn't his soul ring a white one? Why did they turn red? The red color receded, and the blood-red color in Yuhao's eyes faded away. The 2 red soul rings on his body also disappeared. The incomparably terrifying aura from a moment ago had now completely disappeared. Everything returned to normal. The aura that Yuhao had released hadn't spread far. It had only spread within the great beast dueling arena. A faint stench began to drift out from the dark caves in the distance. Furthermore, the stench gradually became stronger. Yuhao looked at the 2 teachers, who were already in a daze, and smiled gently. Teacher, have I passed? This. The referee teacher was already speechless. He had presided over countless students' advancement tests. However, this was the first time he'd ever seen a situation like this. Even if a monster appeared in the Shrek Academy, such a terrifying monster shouldn't appear. A Year 2 student with a 100,000-year soul ring? And 3 of them at once? After the intense shock, the only people present who had reacted and understood what was going on were Zhou Yi and Wang Dong. This was because they'd been shocked the night before. At this moment, a few figures suddenly rushed out from the side door of the great beast dueling arena's beast pens. At the very front was an old man with a face as red as a date. He had a tall figure and a head full of eye-catching red hair. As he rushed out, he roared, "What's going on? Who did this?" All the soul beasts under the 10,000-year level were so scared that they pissed their pants. Du Wei-Luan, was it you who released them? Du Wei-Luan smiled bitterly. Elder Gong, it wasn't me. As he spoke, he floated down from the high platform and came to the old man's side, explaining in a low voice. This red-haired old man was called Gong Changlong, and he was the person in charge of the great beast dueling arena. He had a transcendent status in the Shrek Academy, and had an extremely deep understanding of soul beasts. Even Du Wei-Luan had to be polite to him. Oh? Something like this happened? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. No matter how talented a 12-year-old is, or how many heavenly treasures he has, it's impossible for him to absorb a 100,000-year soul ring. Which brat is it? Tell him to come out and let me take a look. Gong Changlong had a fiery temper, and immediately started shouting. Somewhat embarrassed, Du Wei-Luan said, Elder Gong, look, we're currently in the middle of the advancement test. Shouldn't we wait until after the test? Gong Changlong unhappily said, Test my ass. Didn't you hear me? Most of the soul beasts under the 10,000-year level are pissing their pants, and none of the soul beasts under the 1,000-year level are lucky enough to escape. How are we supposed to test them? These soul beasts need to rest for at least 2 days to recover. Do you know how long it'll take for me to send people to clean up the place? It wasn't easy for me to control these soul beasts so that they don't defecate as they please, but now all of my previous efforts have been wasted. Du Wei-Luan hadn't expected the situation to be so serious. This wasn't a small matter, and it would affect the students' learning time. Alright, Elder Gong, I'll go and explain things. Du Wei-Luan turned around and walked over to the students of the 2 classes. In a deep voice, he said, "Due to the special circumstances, today's advancement test will be temporarily suspended. The teacher in charge will bring the students back to their classrooms to study." Zhou Yi hurriedly asked, "Director Du, what about Huiyuhao's test?" "Huiyuhao, come with me." As he spoke, he turned around and walked towards Elder Gong once more. Huiyuhao didn't follow closely behind him. Instead, he indifferently glanced at Dai Huabin. "Hurry up and kneel." These words were like a sharp arrow that pierced into his chest. For a moment, Dai Huabin felt a stuffy feeling in his chest that he couldn't release. He felt a sweet taste in his throat, and with a wah, he spat out a mouthful of blood. He was too competitive, and the more competitive a person was, the harder it would be for them to accept such a huge blow. Zhu Lu cried out in alarm, and hurriedly went to support him. However, Dai Huabin rudely waved her hands away. His eyes were bloodshot as he fiercely glared at Huiyuhao, who was already following Du Weiluan. Suddenly, he knelt down on the ground and loudly shouted, "I was wrong." As he spoke, he fiercely kowtowed to the ground. "I forgive you." Just as Dai Huabin finished kowtowing and admitting his mistake, Huiyuhao's indifferent voice rang out. He raised his head and looked at Huiyuhao's departing figure. "Fuck. I've been ignored. Huiyuhao, I definitely won't let you off." Du Weiluan once again returned in front of Gong Changlong. "Elder Gong, I've brought him over. Look." Before he could finish speaking, Gong Changlong had already snorted coldly. His figure suddenly flashed, and he sent a palm straight towards Huiyuhao's head. Huiyuhao subconsciously made his move, and a red soul ring immediately appeared. His right hand transformed into an ice dragon claw, and he met the palm head-on. At the same time, they suddenly felt an intense chill. Not only was this chill sudden, but it was also ferocious. It felt as if it had drilled into their bones. Even with Du Weiluan's cultivation, he couldn't help but shiver from the dense chill. When the two palms collided, Gong Changlong's right palm suddenly turned a fiery red, like a piece of burning coal. However, when his palms collided with Huiyuhao's palms, a sizzling sound could be heard. Large amounts of white fog emerged from where the two of them had collided, and even covered their bodies within it. Following this, Huiyuhao took 3 steps back before stopping. When the white fog dissipated, Gong Changlong's face was filled with astonishment. He had actually taken a step back. "Good kid, that's an extremely rare ultimate ice. The quality of your martial soul actually completely suppressed this old man. Your first soul ring is actually a red soul ring? Your soul power has reached rank 35. However, where are your other 2 red soul rings?" Huiyuhao felt a little helpless. He had actually been exposed just like that. Afterwards, he used the same excuse to successfully convince Elder Gong. He even told Elder Gong that the 3 red soul rings were only the second soul skill of his first martial soul. This caused Elder Gong and Director Du to feel incredulous. Twin martial souls. Your second martial soul is actually the legendary Ice Dragon King with the bloodline of the Dragon God. Your first soul ring is actually a red soul ring, and you have 100,000-year torso bone. Oh my god! You're really… The two of them were stupefied. They couldn't use words to describe Huiyuhao. Teacher Du was originally a little against Huiyuhao becoming an inner courtyard disciple. After all, he was too young, and his cultivation wasn't enough. However, he completely agreed to it now. He now knew that Huiyuhao's white soul ring was actually fake. With a skill that could change the color of a soul ring, even a titled Dolua's eyes would be fooled. It was simply a godly skill. Moreover, the Ice Dragon King? Director Du suddenly thought of a possibility. Could it be that the Ice-type Soul Master Xiaotao met was him? However, at that time, the Ice Dragon King had only automatically protected its master and hadn't awakened. And that made sense. After arranging things for Huiyuhao, he let him go back. Somewhere else. Huabin, are you alright? Zhu Lu asked worriedly. Dai Huabin said coldly, help me ask Teacher Mu for a leave of absence. I'm going out. Zhu Lu was shocked. Are you going to? No, if you do that. Dai Huabin coldly interrupted her. Don't worry about me. After saying that, he turned around and left. Yuhao, I will definitely make you pay the price. Somewhere else. Second young master, this is too risky. Shrek Academy is the #1 academy on the continent. There are as many experts as there are trees in the forest. There are even more titled Dolua than our empire. If you rashly kill someone in Shrek Academy, it will bring great trouble to the Duke. Then what if it's outside Shrek Academy? If it's far enough from Shrek Academy, we can try. Second young master, you must calm down. If it's really not possible, you can ask the eldest young master for advice. No need, I've already thought it through. I was the one who was blinded by anger. I'll think of a way first. If it's really not possible, I'll lure them out for the sake of the White Tiger Duke's mansion's glory. At that time, you can't dissuade me. Understood. Shrek's inner courtyard's dean's office. What? Yuhao already has 3 rings? He has a second martial soul? And his second martial soul is the legendary Ice Dragon King? His first soul ring is a 100,000-year one? Yan Xiaozhe slammed the table and stood up. Yes, that child personally admitted it. Director Du said respectfully. A hidden second martial soul, an intelligence, what an unbelievable martial soul. I didn't expect this child to hide it so well. Even Elder Xian and I were fooled. His sister might be very strong. She can catch a 100,000-year soul beast for this child. Ice Dragon King, Ice Dragon King. It's one of the best martial souls of dragons. With ultimate ice, Xiaotao can be saved. Ha ha. No, I have to go and see this child personally. 2 days later, the advancement test began anew. Outside the beast dueling arena, Yuhao, do you dare to make another bet? Dai Huabin blocked Yuhao and Tang Dong's path. Before Yuhao could speak, Tang Dong spoke first. What's wrong? You're not convinced? A loss is a loss, and you've forgotten the pain once the wound has healed. You just kowtowed and admitted your mistake. Dai Huabin's eyes flickered with a cold light. What's so good about being opportunistic? I've lost, and I admit it. I'm only asking the 2 of you if you dare to make another bet. This time, I'll bet with both of you. I'll bet that my points will surpass the total of the 2 of you. Don't be too arrogant. Tang Dong wanted to say something, but he was interrupted by Yuhao's hand. He squinted his eyes and smiled at Dai Huabin. Alright, I agree. However, I'll have to kowtow 3 times this time. Alright. Dai Huabin gritted his teeth. Du Weiluan personally oversaw the test once again, but he wasn't the only one who came this time. What shocked the invigilators and referees was that the dean of the Martial Soul Department, Yan Xiaozhe, had personally come. He had even replaced Du Weiluan as the main judge. Since when did the outer courtyard's lower grades test attract the dean's attention? No one would have guessed that Yan Xiaozhe had come just for a student. Tang Dong successfully passed the test. What shocked everyone was that Tang Dong was already a 3-ringed soul elder. This wasn't much, but his 3 black soul rings completely shocked everyone. However, he only obtained 100 points in the end. Dai Huabin was very strong, and he directly killed the 1,000-year tiger soul beast he was facing. He obtained 145 points. He had a look of victory on his face as he looked at Yuhao, who was squinting below the stage. He pointed his index finger at him and said, "It's your turn." Yuhao didn't look at him. He was only looking at the wind tiger that Dai Huabin had killed. Why did you kill it? Yuhao looked at Dai Huabin and asked calmly. What did it do wrong? Why did you kill it? Everyone was stunned. What on earth was he talking about? It's just a soul beast. It's just a tool that soul masters use to break through. So what if it's dead? So what if it's dead? Dai Huabin jumped off the stage and looked at Huo Yuhao with disdain. Huo Yuhao smiled. It was an extremely enchanting smile. Very good. Very good. Very good. I'll remember these words, he said calmly. He walked up the stage. He glanced at the referee and said loudly, I choose a 10,000-year soul beast. Silence. Everyone looked at the petite figure on the stage in disbelief. Student, are you really going to choose a 10,000-year soul beast? The referee looked at Huo Yuhao in disbelief. He thought that this kid was crazy. The referee wasn't the only one who thought so. Everyone thought that he was crazy. Yuhao is an idiot. What on earth is he doing? Tang Dong looked at Huo Yuhao with worry. Dai Huabin was gloating. Humph. You'd better die on the stage. In the spectator stands, this kid, does he want to die? He actually chose a 10,000-year soul beast? All the teachers and students were chattering nonstop. Even Director Du frowned. He felt that this kid was a little too arrogant. A 3-ringed soul elder actually wanted to fight a 10,000-year soul beast? One had to be a 6-ringed soul emperor at the very least to fight a 10,000-year soul beast. Let's do as he says. Yan Xiaozhi's voice rang out. He stared at Huo Yuhao with a burning gaze. If Huo Yuhao dared to say this, it meant that he was confident. The referee had no choice but to carry out the order. The door slowly opened, and a terrifying wave of heat erupted from within. A male lion surrounded by flames slowly walked out from inside. With every step it took, there would be a scorched footprint on the ground. Its fur was fiery red, its body was 6 meters long, and its shoulder height was 2 meters. The moment it came out, it roared into the sky. The terrifying soul beast's aura shook the entire soul dueling arena. Some of the weaker students had already released their martial souls to resist this frightening aura. Everyone's mood had become very heavy. This was a 10,000-year flaming lion king. It was said that this soul beast's flames could evolve into the legendary ultimate fire. However, the probability of that happening was very small. Ultimate elements were just too rare. The flaming lion king had already locked onto Huo Yuhao. Its 4 hooves flapped as it charged towards Huo Yuhao. As the flaming lion king ran, the flames on its body continued to rise. The scorching heat caused its surroundings to distort. This was the terror of a 10,000-year soul beast. Everyone's hearts trembled. They looked at that petite figure again. He had suddenly moved. To everyone's astonishment, he placed his hands behind his back and smiled as he looked at the huge figure that was charging towards him. Everyone held their breath. The flaming Lion King was getting closer and closer. However, Huo Yuhao still hadn't moved. Everyone thought that he had been scared silly. Some people even covered their eyes with their hands, not daring to continue watching. The referee was about to rescue Huo Yuhao, but at this moment, an extremely frightening chill exploded. Crack, crack. The ground had already been frozen. The frightening temperature had already been replaced by an extremely low temperature. In everyone's eyes, Huo Yuhao had changed. A pair of 6-meter-long icy blue dragon wings spread out from his back, and icy blue scales covered a part of his body. A red soul ring instantly appeared. A frightening aura enveloped the entire arena. Everyone released their martial souls at the same time to resist this frightening aura. Another 100,000-year soul ring. Everyone's bodies started to tremble. The one who felt it the most was Wu Feng. She suddenly felt the urge to kneel down in front of Huo Yuhao. In front of him, she was like a subordinate. In the spectator stands, Yan Xiaozhi's face was filled with excitement. The Ice Dragon King. It's really the Ice Dragon King. I didn't expect it. I really didn't expect it. This kid. He's too outstanding. The Flaming Lion King had already prostrated itself on the ground the moment Huo Yuhao released his martial soul. Its entire body was trembling non-stop, and it stared at Huo Yuhao with fear in its eyes. Huo Yuhao smiled gently and retracted his Ice Dragon King martial soul. The low temperature and aura suddenly disappeared. Everyone felt much better. However, in the next moment, everyone looked at Yuhao in disbelief. This was because Yuhao actually walked forward slowly and reached out his right hand to touch the flaming Lion King's soft head. Everyone stared at him in disbelief. Is he courting death? You're a good kid, Yuhao said slowly. Everyone shuddered. He actually dared to say such words to it? Isn't he courting death? However, in the next moment, everyone was stunned. The flaming Lion King stuck out its tongue and licked Yuhao's hand. It even rubbed its head against his body from time to time. The tail behind his buttocks was still wagging non-stop. Silence, complete silence. Is this really a 10,000-year soul beast? Is it really an obedient kitten? Go back. Be good, Yuhao said gently as he stroked its head. The flaming Lion King nodded like a chicken pecking at rice. It hurriedly got up and ran towards the door. Everyone was still in a daze. They looked at Yuhao in disbelief. How did he do it? Why did his 3 soul rings become one? Could it be that he had twin martial souls? How did he subdue that 10,000-year soul beast? In the spectator stands, Yan Xiaozhi suddenly said, "This kid passed. His score is 150 points." Yan Xiaozhi suddenly exclaimed loudly. Boom. Only now did everyone realize what was going on. 150 points. That's the highest score in history. Dai Huabin stared at Yuhao in disbelief. How is this possible? How is this possible? Why? Did I lose to him again? Why? Sometimes you don't have to kill a soul beast to deal with it. Humans are a part of nature, and they are also a part of nature. Yuhao's voice rang out. Everyone was stunned by his words. Yuhao glanced at Dai Huabin. Don't forget, he said indifferently. After that, he left with Tangdong, ***. Dai Huabin roared in his heart. Yuhao, just you wait. Inner courtyard, what? Yuhao was the one who sealed my evil fire and ice? Is that true, teacher? Ma Xiaotao asked excitedly. Yes, that child's second martial soul might have some intelligence. It has been in a self-sealing state. After all, the Ice Dragon King's strength is too domineering. However, when you attacked Yuhao, the Ice Dragon King sensed that its master was in danger, so it forcefully awakened and suppressed your evil fire. That's not important. I'm going to find him now. Ma Xiaotao broke the glass and turned into a red light as she rushed out of the inner courtyard. Sigh. This child. She's so impatient. At night, Yuhao and Tangdong went to the treasure trade auction. Because they had Yuhao's red card, Yuhao and Tangdong picked 2 good things, a soul bone and whale glue. However, Yuhao knew that it was 10,000-year whale glue. It was something that was spat out from the stomach of a 10,000-year deep-sea demon whale. It was very beneficial to one's cultivation and body. On the way, Yuhao furrowed his brows. He glanced in front of him from time to time. They were still coming. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 soul masters, 1 soul emperor, 2 soul kings, and 3 soul ancestors. Dai Huabin, you're really messing around. You're actually looking for trouble with me again? Yuhao activated his spiritual detection sharing. Tangdong immediately received it. He furrowed his brows and looked at Yuhao. Yuhao shook his head. We'll leave this place in 3 seconds. Yuhao said through his spiritual power. Alright. In the sky, 2 figures, 1 white and 1 blue, flashed across the horizon. Following that, 6 figures chased after them. They were all soul masters. The leader of the 6 soul masters was a soul emperor, while the rest were 2 soul kings and 3 soul ancestors. Their targets were the 2 figures in front of them. They were Yuhao and Tangdong, who had released their Dragon King martial souls. The white gold and icy blue dragon wings flapped in sync. They were ridiculously fast. However, their speed was slowly decreasing, and their soul power was slowly decreasing. ***. Who are these people? They want to kill us? Tang Dong shouted. Tang Dong, I've already sent out a distress signal. The Academy's people will be here soon. Let's hold on for a while longer. Yuhao pulled Tang Dong and charged 100 meters into the sky. They reached 500 meters in an instant. After that, he said, let them have a taste of the consequences of angering the Dragon King. Yuhao's lips curled upwards, and Tang Dong also smiled. Tang Dong's second soul ring lit up. Yuhao's spine shone with green light. Light Dragon Dive. 1,000 miles of ice. An illusory platinum-colored dragon charged towards the 6 people below. The 6 of them instinctively wanted to dodge. However, they instantly felt the temperature around them drop rapidly. Small ice crystals even formed. Crack, crack. That part of the sky was suddenly frozen. 3 of the 6 people were frozen inside. Roar! The illusory white-gold dragon crashed into the ice. On top of the ice, boom! 3 ice sculptures fell to the ground. Yuhao hurriedly supported the weak Tang Dong. He retracted his dragon wings and opened his enormous golden moth wings. Whoosh! He turned into a streak of light and escaped. The 3 of them were still chasing after him. The ice sculptures that had fallen to the ground broke apart, and the 3 of them continued to chase after him. Damn it! Why did his speed suddenly become so fast? Aren't they outer courtyard students? Why are they so strong? The Soul Emperor was in disbelief. At this moment, 3 figures were charging towards the top of Shrek City's city walls at an astonishing speed. The one in front was Bei Bei, who was covered in dragon scales and had unleashed his blue lightning tyrant dragon martial soul. Su Sancher and Jiang Nannan were behind him. Bei Bei and Su Sancher no longer had 3 soul rings. Instead, they had 4. 2 yellow and 2 purple soul rings. This meant that they had become soul ancestors. Finally, Yuhao was elated. However, he felt powerless in the next moment and started to fall. Killing intent flashed in the eyes of the 6 people chasing after him. They immediately flew towards the falling Yuhao. However, at this moment, they suddenly felt a frightening heat flow towards them. A red streak of light caught the falling Yuhao and pulled the weak Tang Dong along. A cold voice sounded, "How dare you touch my man? You're courting death." Wasn't that red figure Ma Xiaotao? A pair of fiery red wings spread out behind her back. They were like the wings of a phoenix. 6 soul rings floated beside her. 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 2 black soul rings. The best soul ring combination. Xiaotao, senior sister. Yuhao said weakly. Sister, it's sister. Ma Xiaotao handed Yuhao and Tang Dong over to Bei Bei and the others, who had rushed over. She glared coldly at the 6 of them and said in an unusually furious voice, "You've actually killed your way into Shrek's territory? How dare you? It's fine if you kill people, but how dare you touch my man? See if I don't burn you into charcoal." Her 6th soul ring lit up. A large group of meteorites fell from the sky. Miserable screams filled the sky. As expected of my sister, the name of the flame demon isn't just for show. Yuhao looked at Ma Xiaotao, who was venting her anger for him. His heart immediately felt warm. She was once his sister. Sister, in this life, I'll definitely make you a god. I won't let you die. An eldest senior brother and the others, they definitely won't let you die. Yuhao had been blaming himself since a long time ago. In the god realm, he had watched his family and friends grow old with his own eyes. Furthermore, he had a son who had suddenly appeared and slowly became an emperor. Growing old again, he didn't want to experience that feeling again. I was too heavy-handed. I forgot to leave them alive. Ma Xiaotao covered her mouth. She looked at the 6 corpses that had already turned into charcoal. 7 or 8 figures had appeared on top of Shrek City's city walls. There were many soldiers behind them, and these soldiers were all standing there respectfully. Elder Lin and Yan Xiaozhou were among these 7 or 8 people. A request for help from an inner courtyard disciple was a big deal for Shrek Academy. They had actually arrived a long time ago. With their cultivations, they naturally arrived earlier than Ma Xiaotao. However, as teachers, they didn't make a move immediately. This was because they wanted to see how far these students could go. The combination of 2 Dragon King martial souls is actually so powerful. Elder Lin sighed in admiration. Elder Lin, Yuhao, what's that skill that kid used to freeze the sky? Also, what's that golden moth wing that Yuhao used at the end? It was only for a moment, and I didn't take a closer look. Yan Xiaozhe asked. That should be a domain-type soul skill. It's recorded in Dolua's virtues. When an ice dragon appears, everything within 10 million miles will be frozen. Although it was only 100 meters, it's very similar to what's recorded. As for that golden moth wing, it should be a speed-type external soul bone. Furthermore, its rank is very high. There must be a power behind this kid that isn't inferior to our academy. What? Domain-type soul skill? External soul bone? This. Yuhao said that he only has 1 elder sister in his family. That means that his elder sister is very powerful and terrifying. At the very least, she's not weaker than me. She might even be stronger than me. Elder Lin said uncertainly. What? Yan Xiaozhe looked at Elder Lin in disbelief. The academy's investigation was terrifying. In less than a night, they had already found clues that pointed to Dai Huabin. However, they didn't have any concrete evidence, so they couldn't make a judgment. They could only suppress it for now. The next day, this is impossible. Dai Huabin looked at Hui Yuhao and Tang Dong, who were standing in front of him. He took a step back frantically. You really don't want to give up, Hui Yuhao said plainly. Dai Huabin was shocked and hurriedly said, I don't know what you're talking about. You know, but I won't stoop to your level. Just fulfill your promise from yesterday. Hui Yuhao didn't even bother with him as he turned around and left. Tang Dong followed behind him. Dong, dong, dong. The sound of 3 kowtows came from behind. I was wrong. Just as Dai Huabin finished speaking, Hui Yuhao's voice was heard. I forgive you. Dai Huabin gritted his teeth. F***CK. F***CK. Hui Yuhao. So what if you're an inner courtyard disciple? My elder brother is also an inner courtyard disciple. Furthermore, he's this generation's Shrek 7. At the entrance of Class 1, Tang Dong was dumbfounded as he stared at Hui Yuhao, who was being carried by a red figure. Hui Yuhao, quick, quick. I can't take it anymore, I can't take it anymore. Wasn't this person Ma Xiaotao? Her voice was rather loud. Not only did the students who were passing by hear her, but even the students who were already seated in Class 1 heard her. Everyone stared at Hui Yuhao in disbelief. Senior sister, you don't tell me. Hui Yuhao's face instantly turned red. He recalled the embarrassing incident that had happened in the past. A red light flickered, and Ma Xiaotao sped up with Hui Yuhao in her arms. They instantly disappeared at the end of the corridor. You crazy woman! Don't take my Hui Yuhao away! F***CK. Give my Hui Yuhao back! Tang Dong! Class has started. But, no buts. Hurry up and come to class, or I'll expel you. I humph. The next day, before the sun rose, at the bottom of Poseidon Lake, at the bottom of the lake, there was a huge block of ice. 2 naked people were sealed inside. A 12-year-old boy with long blue hair and a 20-year-old girl with long red hair. However, their postures were really, the 2 of them were hugging each other. The boy's head was buried in the girl's chest, and his hands and legs were wrapped around the girl's body. The girl's hands and legs were wrapped around the boy's body. It was such a weird posture. Weren't these 2 people Hui Yuhao and Ma Xiaotao? Before this, Hui Yuhao had already suppressed Ma Xiaotao's evil fire. However, the 2 of them were both wet. When the 2 of them came ashore, Hui Yuhao only felt unusually weak. Because of the huge difference in strength, if Yuhao was a Soul King, he would definitely be fine. After that, Ma Xiaotao fed Yuhao whale glue. However, Ma Xiaotao seemed to have stuffed a large piece of it into Yuhao's mouth, causing Yuhao to go crazy. Ma Xiaotao had no choice but to jump into the lake with him. However, the result, crack. A crack suddenly appeared on the block of ice. Boom! The block of ice broke. Ma Xiaotao directly carried the unconscious Yuhao out of Poseidon Lake. Fortunately, there wasn't anyone around. Otherwise, the two of them would be whooped. I'm too ashamed to face anyone. This is too embarrassing. I was actually molested by this little guy, and I almost lost my virginity. She was so angry that she wanted to cry. She looked at Yuhao, who was still sleeping in her arms. It had to be said that Yuhao was very beautiful and very handsome. These two opposite adjectives actually appeared on the same person at the same time. His white skin seemed so delicate that it could be broken by the wind. Even Ma Xiaotao felt a trace of envy and jealousy. She hadn't seriously looked at Yuhao before. In the past, she only thought that Yuhao was a handsome young man. But now, why is a boy so beautiful? I'm so jealous. Wait, why am I jealous of him? Ma Xiaotao slapped her face with both hands to wake herself up. She went ashore and placed Yuhao on the ground. Then, she hurriedly took out a red dress and put it on. After that, she stared at the sleeping man on the ground. If he was a little older, I wouldn't mind. This thought suddenly appeared in Ma Xiaotao's mind. Then, she shook her head vigorously. What on earth was she thinking? Her face was now completely red. I wouldn't mind if I were his older sister. Ma Xiaotao thought as she looked at his beautiful and handsome face. This stinking brat. He saw everything he should see, and saw everything he shouldn't see. He touched everything he should touch, and touched everything he shouldn't touch. He shot everything he should pay. When did she become so dirty? Ma Xiaotao hurriedly punched herself. She took out Yuhao's wet school uniform and washed it by the lake. After drying it, she personally put it on Yuhao. Then, she placed Yuhao on the ground and wrote a few lines of words beside him. After that, she lightly kicked Yuhao a few times. Then, she looked at Yuhao with a complicated expression. Then, she flew towards the inner courtyard. Early morning, when Yuhao slowly woke up from his deep sleep, a trace of dawn had already appeared in the east. His spirit eyes had already awakened 3 great innate abilities. One of them was that he could see what happened after he fainted. In an instant, his face became incomparably red. I might as well just kill myself. He looked at the words Ma Xiaotao had written beside him. Too short, too weak. Don't worry, you're still a virgin. Yuhao was stunned. 10,000 **** galloped in his heart. He directly hit his head on the ground. Then, he kept repeating, I really want to die. After that, he gradually calmed down. Weak and short? Is it really that short? I feel that it's rather big. Pay. What am I thinking? He sensed his soul power. Peak of rank 36? He was a little surprised. Forget it, I should hurry back. Chapter 43. After that, Yuhao and the others joined Shrek's monitoring group. In a forest on the way to Xingluo, cooking barbecue requires careful control of the fire. You have to sense the temperature of the flames. After a certain amount of time, it's almost done. After that, you just have to spread the ingredients and it'll be perfect. Clang 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 clang. The secret barbecue will be done. Yuhao carried a few plates of freshly cooked grilled fish, chicken wings, and wild rabbit. He placed them on the table, and everyone was drooling. Elder Xian was no exception. It had to be said that the aroma was too tempting. After the dishes were placed on the table, everyone rushed forward. They were all snatched up. I haven't started eating yet, Yuhao said weakly. Ah. I'm sorry. Yuhao, your cooking is too delicious. I can't take it anymore. Everyone spoke at the same time. Yuhao could only silently drink the mushroom soup at the side. Star Battle Barracks. A group of people walked in the barracks. Yuhao and Tang Dong were walking at the back. Will he recognize you? Tang Dong whispered into Yuhao's ear. Only he knew about Yuhao's background. He hasn't even seen me before. Yuhao was a little dejected. It's okay. When you're stronger, you'll be able to ask him for an explanation. Tang Dong patted Yuhao's shoulder. Yuhao smiled. After the first seal was broken, he recalled many things. More than half of them were from his era. The rest were some things from the God realm and memories from 10,000 years ago. Right now, he was at a loss. He didn't know how to face this incompetent biological father of his. It was a domineering middle-aged man. He was handsome, resolute, tall, and had an iron-blooded aura. His golden hair fluttered in the wind. His upper body was bare, revealing his bronze muscles. He was probably more than 2 meters tall. From the side, one could see that his chiseled face was so resolute. His seemingly slow movements were actually as smooth as flowing water. Every step he took, every punch he threw, there would definitely be a dull sound of air exploding. Yuhao was stunned. He knew that he would meet him again one day, but he didn't expect it to be so soon. In an instant, grief, anger, excitement, and a trace of hatred and killing intent filled his heart. Yuhao's heart was beating wildly, as if it wanted to rush out. Why? I clearly don't hate him anymore, so why do I still want to kill him so much? Yuhao's body began to tremble, and he didn't know what to do. Tang Dong, who was beside Yuhao, had already sensed that something was amiss. He took a step to the side and blocked in front of Yuhao. At the same time, his right hand reached behind him and tried to grab Yuhao. Originally, he wanted to grab Yuhao's collar to wake him up, but this is... Tang Dong's body instantly froze, and he let go of Yuhao as if he had been electrocuted. His handsome face instantly turned red. Fortunately, everyone's attention was on the White Tiger Duke. However, Yuhao really did calm down after he grabbed Yuhao. Yuhao clutched his lower body in pain. Thank you. However, can you just pinch my waist next time? Don't pinch here again. Yuhao's pained moans traveled into Tang Dong's ears. Tang Dong's face instantly turned so red that smoke seemed to be coming out of it. I'm sorry, the cave the group carefully walked in. They had come to this cave to exterminate the Hand of Death. According to the White Tiger Duke, this was where they were hiding. With Yuhao's spiritual detection sharing, everything that happened in the cave was displayed in everyone's minds. Yuhao, who was at the back, furrowed his brow extremely tightly. Why does this place feel so familiar? Where have I seen it before? Where is it? Also, why do I have an ominous feeling? Yuhao was extremely uncomfortable right now. This feeling became more and more intense after they entered the cave. A huge pile of corpses suddenly appeared in front of everyone. More than 10 human skins were hanging on the walls on both sides of the cave. There was even a baby's corpse that had been pierced through and hung on a stalagmite. The black-clothed bandits were covered in blood, and the thick smell of blood assaulted everyone's nostrils. F***ck. Bei Bei roared furiously. Jiang Nan, Xiao Xiao, and the other girls couldn't help but vomit. These people deserve to die. Ma Xiaotao roared furiously. According to their intelligence, the leader seemed to be a 6-ringed soul emperor. Wang Yan waved his hand and said, "Everyone, attack! Don't let a single one of them go. We need to prevent future trouble." Everyone who could fight immediately possessed their martial souls and charged out. Instantly, the cave was filled with miserable screams. At this moment, a sharp howl rang out from the depths of the cave. Who dares to oppose the envoy of the death god? All of you will die and become my corpse slaves. The corpses gradually began to swell. Huiyuhao's mind instantly shook. Oh no! Everyone, quickly retreat! It's the corpse explosion technique. Huiyuhao immediately shouted. However, it was too late. Boom, boom, boom. Violent explosions rang out in the cave one after another. The terrifying explosion caused flesh and blood to fly in all directions. Shrek 7 was relatively close to Yuhao. When Huiyuhao shouted, it had already retreated to the safe zone. However, Ma Xiaotao and the others suffered. Ma Xiaotao, Dai Huabin, and Ling Luochen were fine. They had dodged well and suffered some injuries. However, Chen Zifeng's right leg was gone, and he kept screaming miserably as the poison corroded his leg. Gong Yangma's chest, abdomen, and legs were badly mutilated. Even his body was emitting smoke. Yao Haoshuan's body was the largest, so he had to endure the strongest explosion. Half of his body had been blown away, and it was obvious that he wouldn't be able to survive. Cece's back was the only part of her body that had been blown away. However, he was also badly mutilated. He fell to the ground and endured the pain. The 7 students from the Shrek Academy's inner courtyard had all suffered different degrees of injuries. One of them had even died in battle. The originally overwhelming situation had turned into such a miserable state. Humph! I didn't expect someone to recognize this envoy's ultimate technique. However, so what? Ah! That voice rang out again. Lei Feng. An old, angry roar suddenly rang out, causing the entire cave to tremble violently. An intense white light instantly filled every corner of the cave. All the corroding poisonous blood evaporated in an instant. An old, sloppy figure appeared. It was Elder Xian. He raised his right hand and made a pulling motion towards the cave in front of him. Suddenly, a terrifying suction force was emitted from his palm. A figure was instantly pulled out of the cave. It was pulled straight in his direction. The figure that was pulled out of the cave by Elder Xian was completely covered in a black robe. His figure was very thin, but his appearance couldn't be seen. Only 2 yellow, 3 purple, and 1 black soul ring could be seen shining on his body. He was a 6-ringed soul emperor. After being grabbed by Elder Xian, he immediately screamed in fear. He struggled with all his might. He was about to be pulled in front of Elder Xian. At this moment, Yao Haoshuan, who had half of his body blown up and was already dead, expanded once again. Elder Xian, be careful behind you! Huiyuhao shouted. Elder Xian suddenly raised his hands. A ball of condensed white light instantly enveloped Yao Haoshuan's corpse. At the same time, he flicked his fingers. That 6-ringed soul emperor felt as if he had been hit by a huge hammer. However, a strange scene occurred at this moment. His 5th purple soul ring suddenly lit up, and his entire body turned into a wisp of smoke. He didn't immediately run away. Instead, he pounced towards Huiyuhao like lightning. He didn't give Huiyuhao any time to react. Following this, Huiyuhao felt his surroundings spin. He heard Elder Xian's angry roar. There was nothing beneath his feet, and he instantly sank. An intense explosion sounded. Yao Haoshuan's body exploded. Not even his bones were left. However, Elder Xian had completely controlled his body's explosion. It was also because of this that Elder Xian was slightly slower in rescuing Huiyuhao. His hand only managed to grab onto the stone slab that had been flipped up again. Huiyuhao and the evil soul master had already disappeared into thin air. Asterisk, asterisk! Elder Xian roared. He was clearly enraged. He suddenly punched the ground, and the stone slab that had been flipped up was instantly smashed to pieces. However, he didn't dare to release too much soul power. He was afraid that he would harm Huiyuhao. This delay allowed a series of intense explosions to occur in the tunnel below. The tunnel started to collapse violently. As the saying goes, a crafty rabbit has 3 burrows. The true leader of this cruel hand of death was that soul emperor. Yuhao! Tang Dong and Bei Bei finally reacted. However, Yuhao had already disappeared. When they thought of the exploding corpses, everyone felt their minds go blank. Elder Xian suddenly waved his sleeves and swept everyone away. Wang Yan, hurry up and save him. I'll go save Yuhao. As he spoke, Elder Xian released his martial soul in front of the students for the first time. Elder Xian's back suddenly arched. His tattered clothes, which were covered in oil, instantly burst open. The muscles on his back expanded at an astonishing speed. In the blink of an eye, his body had at least doubled in size. The strangest thing was that a long, spiral-shaped horn had grown out from both sides of his head. The moment he released his martial soul, the air in the entire cave seemed to freeze. 2 yellow, 2 purple, 4 black, and 1 red. The perfect combination of 9 soul rings shone with a dazzling brilliance as they instantly rose up. Elder Xian's messy hair had completely turned a brownish yellow. He suddenly turned his head to look at the remaining bandit. Immediately, an incomparably terrifying aura surged out like a stormy sea. In an instant, another series of explosions occurred. However, this time, it wasn't a corpse explosion. It was a human explosion. Elder Xian's right foot suddenly stomped on the ground. In an instant, an enormous, deep pit was brazenly blasted open. Elder Xian's majestic body bent down. His large, fan-like hands dug at an astonishing speed. In the time it took to breathe, his entire body had sunk into the ground and disappeared. Somewhere else, the envoy of the death god had already brought Yuhao out of the tunnel. The air suddenly became fresh and clean, immediately refreshing Yuhao's spirit. However, at the entrance of the tunnel, there were 12 figures quietly standing there. Seeing the envoy of the death god emerge from the tunnel, the 12 people who didn't even seem to be breathing immediately knelt on one knee and respectfully saluted the envoy of the death god. The envoy of the death god threw Yuhao to the side and said to the 12 people, "Rise, my corpse slaves. Stay behind and cover the retreat for me. We've run into big trouble this time. That guy's aura, I'm afraid he's a titled Doluo. However, in another 10 years, even a titled Doluo can only bow his head in front of me. Ha! Cough cough. You sure talk big." Yuhao's weak voice sounded. He propped himself up with both hands on the ground. "You stinking brat, you're still awake?" The envoy of the death god was very shocked. Yuhao was about 12 years old. If it was an ordinary person, they would have already fainted. However, Yuhao was actually still awake. This caused him to be extremely shocked. "It's even better that you're awake. I can use you to threaten that titled Dolu. However, before that, speak. How did you know about my corpse explosion technique?" The envoy of the death god instantly grabbed Yuhao's neck and lifted him high into the air. Yuhao didn't struggle. He just coldly looked at the envoy of the death god. "Not going to speak? Haha. You know what? I love to see living people explode in front of me the most. That's simply the most beautiful moment of art in the world. I'll let you have a taste." In an instant, an unknown force entered Yuhao's body. An aura of death instantly spread throughout his entire body. "Ah!" Yuhao raised his head and roared. His body also began to slowly expand. Boom! In an instant, he felt a sharp pain in his head again. This time, the pain was even more painful. Yuhao suddenly hugged his head. The envoy of the death god threw him to the ground. Looking at Yuhao's pained appearance, he was simply overjoyed. He laughed sinisterly. "Ha ha 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 ha. Is it painful? Is it hopeless? This is the power of the death god. Obediently throw yourself into the embrace of the death god. Ha!" But at this moment, 9 pitch-black chains suddenly appeared on Yuhao's body. Each chain had a strange pattern on it. The envoy of the death god suddenly took a step back. He stared at the 9 chains in disbelief. What the hell is this? He didn't know why, but these 9 chains actually made him feel a sense of dread. At this moment, the second chain on Yuhao's body suddenly cracked. Yuhao directly grabbed the second chain with both hands. Using all the strength in his body, he forcefully pinched it. "Break for me!" A painful voice resounded through the sky. Crack! It broke. But then, boom! It exploded. Smoke and dust rose. The envoy of the death god stared at the smoke and dust. Is he dead? It's best if he's dead. That feeling of dread just now. I can't. I have to leave quickly. If that titled battle pet warrior Dolua catches up to me, I'll be in trouble. He was about to escape when a voice suddenly rang out. "You're now in trouble." It was the voice of a youth. The envoy of the death god instantly trembled all over. He slowly turned around. The smoke and dust had already dispersed, but there was a figure standing there. It was a 12-year-old youth with a handsome face that would make any girl jealous. His only flaw was that he didn't have any expression, giving off a lifeless appearance. His long gray hair fluttered in the wind. Wearing the gray Shrek's uniform, his emotionless gray eyes made the envoy of the death god tremble again. At this moment, 3 gray soul rings filled with the aura of death suddenly appeared around the youth. The envoy of the death god suddenly felt a terrifying aura of death pouncing on him. Run! That was the first thing that came to his mind. He turned around and ran without hesitation. However, 4 black chains suddenly appeared around him and firmly bound him, making him unable to move. "Ah! Let me go. Do you know who I am? I'm the envoy of the death god. If you kill me, the death god won't let you off." The envoy of the death god struggled and roared. He hurriedly controlled the 12 corpse slaves and pounced on the youth. A gray flame instantly appeared in the youth's left hand and he waved it lightly. Whoosh! Whoosh! In an instant, the 12 corpse slaves were completely incinerated. This is impossible. The envoy of the death god looked at the youth in horror. How could he be so strong? Wasn't this youth Yuhao? Humph! Death god? Are you talking about your holy ghost religion's supreme sex, death god Dolo Yishishue? Humph! She's not worthy of being called the death god. You're just an ant from the holy ghost religion, and you're not worthy of being called the death god's envoy. Yuhao snorted coldly. Who exactly are you? You're also an evil soul master? You must be. With such a terrifying martial soul, could you be the holy son that the death god mentioned? Holy son, I've offended you. I deserve to die. I deserve to die. Please grant me death. The trapped envoy of the death god immediately turned hostile. His eyes were filled with excitement and self-blame. Humph! Since you're so eager to die, then, go ahead and die. You're a pervert who doesn't fear death. You can't be the death god's envoy. Yuhao waved his right hand and the chains disappeared. However, a bunch of white skeletal hands suddenly emerged from the ground and grabbed onto the envoy of the death god's right leg, right hand, and head. Instantly, they began to pull outwards. Skeleton chariot rend. Yuhao's indifferent voice sounded. Ah 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 ah. The envoy of the death god cried out in pain. Ah! This is the power of the Holy Sun. Too strong. The Holy Sun's powers are boundless. We welcome the arrival of the Holy Sun. To be able to personally witness the arrival of the Holy Sun and the power of the Holy Sun, I can die without regrets. My sect will definitely rise. Holy Sun, the death god and the rest will definitely come back to bring you back. Long live the Holy Sun. The Holy Spirit will never be extinguished. Ha 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 ha. Ah ah ah. Cha. Blood splattered everywhere. The envoy of the death god's 4 limbs and head were forcefully torn off just like that. Yuhao looked indifferently at the scattered limbs and head on the ground, as well as the bloodstains. A corpse wizard who doesn't fear death and can't even grasp the mysteries of the soul. You don't even have the qualifications to become a lich. No. You don't even have the qualifications to become a corpse wizard. You're destined to play with fire and burn yourself. Yuhao spoke indifferently. Following that, a black book suddenly appeared in front of Yuhao and opened instantly. Following that, a shocking scene appeared. The transparent envoy of the death god suddenly appeared. What's going on? He looked at everything in front of him in disbelief. He was clearly dead. This is the Holy Sun's divine might. It actually allowed my soul to reunite? His heart was filled with shock. Slowly repent in the book of life and death. When you realize your mistake, go and reincarnate. In your next life, be a good person. Yuhao took out a pitch-black brush and wrote the envoy of the death god's name on the book. In an instant, the envoy of the death god transformed into a ray of white light and entered the book. Following that, the book slowly closed. On the cover of the book were 3 words: Life and Death Typhon. The book and brush disappeared. Yuhao looked at the corpse on the ground. The gray flames from before ignited once again and gradually burned the corpse clean. How long has it been since I used necromancy magic? It actually feels a little unfamiliar. I can still remember some things. I can almost remember everything from this era. Yuhao opened his mouth and looked behind him. Elder Xian is here. In an instant, the deathly aura around Yuhao's body disappeared. Everything gray returned to its original state. Yuhao directly fell to the ground. Boom! A violent explosion sounded at the entrance of the tunnel. Following that, a figure soared into the sky and brazenly landed. It was Elder Xian's majestic body. Elder Xian saw that there was no one around except for Yuhao lying there. His figure flashed and Elder Xian arrived beside Yuhao. He didn't know what had happened because there weren't any traces of battle here. There wasn't even a trace of blood. What had happened? He carefully picked up Yuhao and slowly poured his soul power into Yuhao's body. He quickly discovered that Yuhao's coma wasn't due to physical injuries. It was just that his spirit was slightly overdrawn. Even his soul power wasn't greatly exhausted. Elder Xian was anxious to know the whereabouts of the envoy of the death god. He took out a small white jade bottle and shook it under Yuhao's nose. Achoo! Yuhao suddenly sneezed and woke up. A spicy smell gradually cleared his mind. However, he still felt that his head was very heavy and dizzy. Even his spirit eyes couldn't see clearly. Yuhao, what happened? Where's that despicable evil soul master? Elder Xian asked anxiously. Elder Xian? Where am I? Wasn't I captured by that evil soul master? Yuhao looked around and said blankly. Elder Xian was stunned. It's fine. Fortunately, you're fine. Let's go. I'll bring you back. Chapter 44. Shrek, a meeting in the Poseidon Pavilion. Elder Mu, what should we do about this year's Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Soul Dueling Tournament? There are only a dozen or so disciples in the inner courtyard. Only 2 of them are of suitable age, but their abilities are a little lacking. Do you want to send the Soul Tool Department member who was eliminated last time along with these 2? No. We don't need to reinforce them. Just let those kids do as they please. The elders couldn't help but be shocked. One of them couldn't help but say, Elder Mu, this concerns the Academy's honor. Elder Mu smiled faintly and said, Yes, honor. Don't you think that we've been kidnapped by this honor all these years? Losing isn't scary, but being complacent is. Some people already think that the Martial Soul Department is invincible. It's time to sound the alarm. In the past 30 years, soul tools have been developing at a rapid pace. But how is our Soul Tool Department? It's still lacking compared to the Sun Moon Empire. The times are changing, and our thinking has to change as well. Even if we send reinforcements, will they do better than those kids? Although our official team members can't participate, don't forget that the preparatory team is the strongest in the Academy's history. Since the heavens have decided to let them train in advance, why don't we fulfill their wishes? I believe in those kids. What about you? Yes, we understand. It's still too early to talk about failure. Even if we fail, if we can use this failure to train those 7 kids in the preparatory team, and let them become the perfect generation for our Shrek Academy, then this failure will be worth it. Let them do as they please. After the tournament ends, send a letter to the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy in the name of the Soul Tool Department and apply for an exchange. Send our Soul Tool Department students to them for an exchange. Yes. Tanya was in a daze as she looked out of the window. Her face was a little pale. She slowly stood up and clenched her small fist. I want to be strong. I want to give my all for the Tangmen. I'm sorry, father, mother. I'm afraid your Xiao Ye will have to. Xingluo City. Sun Moon Conference Room. 2 old men sat at the head of the table. A total of 14 students sat on either side of the table. The students on the left were obviously older, while the ones on the right were younger. Evidently, the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy had sent an official team and a reserve team to prepare for 5 years later. The old man on the left side of the seat of honor had a straight nose and a square mouth. He had a dignified appearance, and his face was red as dates. His broad shoulders gave people a very solid feeling as he sat there. He said in a deep voice, according to our observations, only 10 people came from Shrek Academy this time. Moreover, only 3 of them looked to be under 20 years old. The others were slightly older. We've used our people who infiltrated the Xianra Empire and have received accurate information. When they signed up, only 3 of them were 19 years old. The other 7 were all under 15 years old. In other words, this time, Shrek Academy didn't even send 7 official members to participate in the competition. Only 2 out of the 7 members of the reserve team from the previous tournament had come. It was also the first time that the 19-year-old female student had appeared. Do you know what this means? He slammed the table and stood up. It means they're looking down on us. They're looking down on us. They think they can defeat us with just 1 reserve team. This is a slap in the face. Do you know that? This is the most direct slap in the face. According to the tournament's rules, the registration ends today. They're going to rely on this lineup to compete with us. Marulong. Present. A male student sitting at the head of the official team suddenly stood up. If we lose to Shrek Academy's lineup in this tournament, you'll be kicked out of the illustrious Virtue Hall. Yes. Marulong's reply was still 1 word, but his voice was filled with killing intent. Elder Ma, don't be anxious. I don't think things are that simple. The captain of the reserve team, who wasn't even 15 years old, sat opposite Marulong. He was a delicate youth with a pair of bright blue eyes and a slender figure. His hands, which rested on the table, were extremely white and slender. Even a girl wouldn't have such a jade-like luster. His skin was only slightly weaker than Yuhao's. He seemed to care a lot about his hands. Even when he was talking to Elder Ma, he kept looking at his hands, as if he was admiring the world's most exquisite artwork. Elder Ma frowned and looked at him. What do you mean by not that simple? The delicate youth continued to look at his fingers. Shrek Academy isn't stupid. Don't they know that the 3 people they sent are definitely not our match? I have a lot of confidence in Brother Rulong. I think they might have met with an accident. Didn't Shrek Academy place a lot of importance on us? Why would they be so careless? That would be for the best. Xiao Hongchen, you'd better focus on the students under 15 from Shrek Academy. They'll be your opponents in the next tournament. The delicate youth, Xiao Hongchen, finally raised his head and smiled. The person who can be my opponent hasn't been born yet. My only opponent is myself. The tournament was held below the imperial city. This way, the Emperor of Xingluo and the others could see everything clearly from the imperial city. The Emperor of Xingluo said to the beautiful woman beside him, "Empress, I've waited 20 years for this grand event. I really miss the days when I was young. It's a pity that the imperial family has too many rules. Otherwise, I'd really like to participate." The Empress smiled and said, "The Emperor always has the heart of a martial artist." The Emperor of Xingluo smiled. "Look, the participating students have already entered the venue. However, they can't use the resting area today. Only the victors of the knockout round have the right to enter the resting area." It's said that only 10 people came from Shrek Academy this time. Many of the participants are very young. The leader of the team is Dai Hao's eldest son. I originally wanted to bring Dai Hao back to watch the tournament. After all, it's only our country's turn once every 20 years. However, after thinking about it, I decided against it. The Sun Moon Empire is becoming more and more restless. I'm more at ease with him guarding the western border. According to the rules of the Continental Advanced Academy Soul Dueling Tournament, the first round will be a knockout round. There are a total of 133 Advanced Soul Master and Soul Engineering Academies that have signed up for this tournament. After drawing lots, one academy will have a bye in the first round. There will be a total of 66 matches. The first round will be a knockout round. The loser's journey in the tournament will be terminated. Next, the first match will begin. The two teams will be the Tian Ling Advanced Soul Academy from the Fighting Emperor Ling Empire, and the #1 academy on the continent, the Shrek Academy, who has won almost all the championships in the past 1,000 years. With this announcement, the atmosphere in Xingluo Plaza reached its peak. Shrek! 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 Cheers for Shrek Academy could be heard in every corner of the plaza. "Teacher Wang Yan, I want to fight the 7 of them by myself," Yuhao said to Wang Yan. "This." Wang Yan looked at Yuhao in disbelief. Everyone looked at Yuhao in disbelief. "How confident are you?" Wang Yan asked. He knew that Yuhao would never fight a battle that he wasn't confident in. 100%. Yuhao smiled and prepared to go on stage with Bei Bei, Tang Dong, and the others. "Remember to be merciful." Wang Yan's voice rang out. Yuhao made an OK gesture with his pen. The 7 people from both teams gathered at a corner of the stage and looked at each other from afar. When the students from the Tian Ling Advanced Soul Academy saw that Shrek Academy had actually sent out such a young lineup, they couldn't help but be stunned. Was this the Shrek Academy's preparatory team? However, this was the knockout round. Weren't they afraid? Everyone who was watching the battle had the same question, including all the participating academies. Even the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy was dumbfounded. At this moment, Xiao Hongchen even doubted his own judgment. This Shrek Academy was too daring. No matter how strong they were, they still sent out a team of students whose average age wasn't even 15 years old. There were even some who looked 12 years old. How could they win against an academy that was almost 20 years old? There was no chance of losing in the knockout round. Xingluo's emperor was also stunned. He said doubtfully, "What is Shrek Academy doing? Why didn't they send out their main force? Why isn't Dai Hao's son up?" A competition was a competition. No matter how many people were doubtful, this competition still had to continue. The referee sent out by the Xianra Empire was already in place. He gestured for both teams to come forward. The 7 students from both teams quickly gathered in the center of the stage. As they got closer, Shrek's 7 could see the ugly expressions on their opponents' faces. History had already proven the result of facing Shrek Academy in the first round. The students from Tian Ling Advanced Soul Engineering Academy also discovered this. As they got closer, Yuhao, Tang Dong, and Xiao Zhao's ages attracted their attention. Furthermore, Bei Bei and the others were clearly younger. There was no doubt that this was a preparatory team. Furthermore, it was a preparatory team with an average age of 15 years old. Shrek Academy was indeed worthy of being called a monster academy. What were they trying to do? The referee said in a low voice, "The first round, knockout round, team battle. Both teams can use most soul tools in the competition. However, if one team concedes during the battle, the other team cannot continue to attack. Soul engineers couldn't use stationary soul tools or other equipment with high destructive power in battle. Do you all understand?" "Understood," the captains replied. Both teams got into formation. Their opponents were in a traditional 3-2 formation, while Shrek's team was in a fan formation. Yuhao stood at the very front. His beautiful and heroic appearance instantly attracted everyone's attention. How could there be such a monstrous person in this world? Even Xiao Hongqian was greatly shocked by Yuhao's appearance. He believed that there was no one in the world more beautiful than him, but the current Yuhao gave him a kind of otherworldly beauty, as if he were a god from the 9 heavens looking down on all living things. This fan-shaped formation gave one the feeling that the other 6 were cheering for Yuhao, as if he was the only one who was going to fight. This was such an incomprehensible scene. After Shrek Academy sent out their preparatory team, they gave everyone a new shock. "Referee, we can start now," Yuhao said calmly to the referee. Yuhao's voice was very pleasant to the ears. It didn't sound like a boy's voice at all. Some people even guessed whether he was a boy or a girl. Only then did the referee come to his senses. His raised right hand dropped down as he shouted, "Let the match begin." The Tianling team had already released their martial souls and soul rings. Among the 7 people, 5 had 4 rings, and only 2 had 3 rings. However, everyone was extremely shocked. This was because Shrek's team didn't release their martial souls or soul rings. Only Yuhao slowly walked towards the Tianling team. What the hell was going on? Everyone was in disbelief. Why was he the only one going forward? In the next moment, Yuhao used his actions to explain why. An indescribably terrifying aura appeared on the competition stage, just like that. 6 blood-red lights illuminated the entire competition stage in an instant. An aura that was filled with coldness, cruelty, slaughter, madness, and other terrifying auras suddenly erupted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. A total of 6 blood-red soul rings appeared around Yuhao's body. Yuhao didn't give off the same godlike feeling as before. Right now, Yuhao was like a demon that had slaughtered his way out of hell. What did red signify? It signified the pinnacle of soul rings. It signified terrifying strength. It signified 100,000-year soul ring. 600,000-year soul rings appearing on one person's body at the same time. This was a level that ordinary people couldn't imagine. Cries of alarm rang out from the hundreds of thousands of people like a stormy sea. The deafening feeling was simply too intense. Even the Emperor and Empress of the Xianra Empire, as well as the civil and military officials, all stood up in shock. The first thought that appeared in everyone's mind was that it was impossible. It was impossible for someone to have so many 100,000-year soul rings, let alone such a young child. However, the aura of a 100,000-year soul ring was so terrifying and real. Furthermore, in many people's hearts, the Shrek Academy was already an existence that had become a legend. When the Heavenly Spirit Academy's side sensed the terrifying aura, almost everyone quickly retreated. They all gathered together. "Humph! Pitiful ants! This is the difference between you and me." Yuhao's ethereal voice rang out. Everyone felt the surrounding temperature plummet, and the ground began to freeze. The Heavenly Spirit Academy's side trembled uncontrollably. "Become an ice sculpture." Yuhao stretched out his left hand and waved it lightly. In the blink of an eye, the 6 people on the other side were collectively frozen into ice sculptures. Under the sun's rays, they flickered like the world's most beautiful works of art. The last thing they saw was Yuhao's disdainful gaze, silence. Complete silence. Not even the sound of breathing could be heard. Everyone looked at the ice sculptures in disbelief. They won just like that? Instant kill. It was a pure instant kill. Right now, Yuhao's 6 red soul rings had disappeared, and the terrifying aura had disappeared. Yuhao had returned to his original aura, an aura that transcended the mortal world. If they hadn't seen him in action with their own eyes, they wouldn't have been able to link the current him with the previous him. Yuhao glanced at the referee indifferently. It's over. Ah. The referee only reacted now. On the other side, the Heavenly Spirit Academy's students and teachers hurriedly carried the 7 ice sculptures off the stage. There were hundreds of thousands of spectators, including the Xianra Empire's royal family, civil and military officials, as well as more than 100 high-ranked Soul Masters and Soul Engineering Academies, but at this moment, there was absolute silence in Xingluo Plaza. The people who were doubtful about the Shrek Academy's preparatory team all stared wide-eyed at the peerless heroic figure on the stage. They couldn't even breathe and had difficulty swallowing. It was unknown how many people were shouting impossible in their hearts when they saw the 600,000-year soul rings. However, at this moment, this impossible was filled with hesitation, shock, fear, and hysterical excitement. Shrek. This was Shrek. The continent's #1, the unrivaled Shrek. Yuhao slowly turned around and faced the crowd in Xingluo Plaza in the south. He shouted in a deep voice, "Remember, I'm from Shrek Academy. I'm from Tangmen." After that, he led the crowd away from the stage. He didn't even wait for the referee to announce the results of the match. His pride shocked the entire audience once again. He was from Shrek. He was from Tangmen. Bei, who was following behind Yuhao, was the one who was most affected at this moment. He resisted the tears in his eyes and thought to himself, "Xiaoya, how good would it be if you were here today to witness this scene? Yes, we're not only from Shrek, but also from Tangmen." Wang Yan took the initiative to welcome Yuhao. When he walked in front of him, the two exchanged glances. Wang Yan seemed to blame him. "Didn't I tell you to be merciful?" Yuhao said indifferently, "I've already been merciful. Otherwise, they would have already been turned into a pile of ice dregs." He didn't stop as he spoke, and directly left without looking back. Wang Yan looked at Yuhao's departing figure. "Aren't you going to stay and watch the match? It's not interesting at all. I originally thought that there would be an opponent that would make me excited, but it's really disappointing." Yuhao's voice rang out. Their conversation was very loud and everyone could hear it. When he passed by the various teams, his gaze swept over them, but no one dared to look him in the eye. At this moment, Yuhao was like a king inspecting his subjects. The other members of Shrek Academy followed behind him. After the first match, they actually left just like that. They didn't even greet the imperial family of the Xianra Empire. "Who's that kid? Why haven't I heard of his name before? Go and investigate his name. Investigate at all costs." The Emperor of Xingluo watched Yuhao leave with an emotional look on his face. Because the Shrek Academy left immediately after the match ended, the entire tournament was interrupted for several minutes. Their departure also took away the attention of the spectators. Fanaticism gradually appeared in everyone's eyes. Yes, this was Shrek, the #1 academy in the world that was like a god in their hearts. This was Shrek Academy's strength. 100,000-year soul ring. That youth who looked like he was only 12 years old was actually the true leader of Shrek Academy's team. The Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy's team members were the most shocked. At this moment, their expressions were frighteningly ugly. Even Xiao Hongqian, who was originally very proud, had an ashen look on his face. He clenched his fists tightly. A voice kept echoing in his heart. "How is this possible? How is this possible? How can there be someone more talented than me in this world?" No, definitely not. He's a fake. He must be a fake. He must be a fake. Grand Imperial Star Hotel. The moment Yuhao walked into the room, he almost lost his balance and fell to the ground. Fortunately, Tang Dong supported him in time. It's indeed very exhausting to freeze the entire arena, Yuhao said weakly. You've already done your best. You've done very well, Wang Yen praised. It's all right. Quickly recover, Tang Dong and the others said. Okay. Yuhao and the others arranged a strategy with Wang Yen. They did their best to prevent Yuhao from making a move. This way, they could give the others some psychological effect. The meeting was adjourned. Yuhao and Tang Dong walked towards his room and prepared to cultivate together. Suddenly, he seemed to have sensed something. He looked towards the other end of the corridor. He saw a handsome young man, who looked to be 14 or 15 years old, standing at the other end of the corridor. He was looking at him with a serious gaze. Xiao Hongchen. Yuhao missed Yuhao a little. Yuhao had once regarded him as his strongest opponent. Xiao Hongchen slowly walked in front of Yuhao. Are you Yuhao? Remember my name. I'm Xiao Hongchen. I'll definitely defeat you. I want everyone to see that I'm stronger than you. Xiao Hongchen raised his right thumb towards Yuhao and turned it down. Tang Dong immediately lost his patience. Just as he was about to attack, Yuhao suddenly pulled him back. He smiled at Xiao Hongchen and said, "Why is a three-legged toad over level 50 acting so arrogant in front of me? How disgusting!" After that, he ignored Xiao Hongchen and left with Tang Dong. Xiao Hongchen was left behind in a daze. He was in disbelief as he turned around to look at Yuhao's back. He just in Yuhao's room. Why did you stop me? You should have beaten him up. He's a Soul King. If you want to beat him up, go beat him up yourself. Soul King? A 15-year-old Soul King? Alright, let's hurry up and cultivate. If we don't use our martial soul fusion skills, it'll be difficult for us to win against that person alone. Let's hurry up and cultivate. In the following day, Su Sancher demonstrated what A*** was in the individual elimination round. He won 3 rounds in a row. In the 3rd round, he even made a bet with the team leader. Whoever won would forfeit. Everyone saw Sora Aoi and Vicious, and they saw these two figures on the same person. The Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy's resting area was silent. When they saw that Su Sancher, who represented the Shrek Academy, only had 4 soul rings, they didn't think much of it. However, when the final result appeared in front of them, their mood took another blow. Xiao Hongchen furrowed his brows. No one knew what he was thinking about. A young girl who resembled him whispered to him, "Brother, what are you thinking about? If we were in his place, we should be able to do it too." Xiao Hongchen shook his head and said, "It's hard to say. We're soul engineers and soul masters. Our soul power is constantly being depleted during a fight. In the Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Soul Dueling Tournament, there's no rest time for the individual matches. Do you dare to say that you can last until the 7th round if you continue to deplete your soul power?" The young girl was a little unconvinced. But he didn't last until the 7th round. He only needed 3 rounds to finish it. Xiao Hongchen said, "But he still finished it. Did you see the footwork he used at the end?" The young girl was stunned. "It was too sudden. I didn't notice it." Xiao Hongchen sighed and said, "But I didn't see it clearly either. Although he didn't dodge all of my attacks, I felt an indescribable sense of danger when he used that footwork. More importantly, he had only used 2 of his soul skills in the 3 fights, his 2nd and 4th soul skills. He hadn't even used his other 2 soul skills at all. From the beginning to the end, it seemed like he didn't do anything, but he still won in the end. Great skills appear to be clumsy. This is the highest level of a defense-type soul master. He'll be a strong opponent in 5 years." The young girl pouted. She was clearly still a little unconvinced. Xiao Hongchen sighed again. Shrek is Shrek. My confidence has taken a hit from the first round to the second. The young girl giggled. Don't give me that. You'll take a hit? Your confidence has never wavered. No matter who your opponent is, you only have one belief in your heart, and that is to win. Xiao Hongchen chuckled. All right, you're right. My fighting spirit is really high right now. It's just that I don't know how strong my opponent was in the first round. I really want to fight him. The young girl snorted and said, Why? Have you fallen in love with him? Get lost. I interacted with him yesterday. He's a guy, but most importantly, Xiao Hongchen furrowed his brow. He actually saw through my abilities and martial soul. What? Chapter 45. A top-class auction. There were only two things that Yuhao was interested in. The first was the 70,000-year icy jade scorpion left arm soul bone that possessed the ice explosion technique. He had an agreement with Emperor Xingluo and Princess Jujio that Bing would give the icy jade scorpion soul bone to Yuhao. However, Yuhao had to become the champion. As for the second thing, it was the Snow Empress embryo, although she was eventually sold to Xiao Hongchen. Yuhao didn't want to bid for the Snow Empress, not because he didn't want to save her, but because he had communicated with her. The Snow Empress said, I became an embryo again because I wanted to see my father as soon as possible and reminisce about my childhood. Father, you have to bring me back. Yuhao didn't know what to say about this reason. Over the next 2 to 3 days, Shrek's main team members, Ma Xiaotao, Dai Huabin, and Ling Luochen, were the only ones to fight. Yuhao and the others only fought during team battles. They spent the rest of their time cultivating. What made the preparatory team pleasantly surprised was that, aside from Bei Bei, all 6 of them had broken through a rank at the same time. Su Sancher was at the peak of rank 49, Jiang Nannan was at rank 47, and He Kaitu was at rank 48. Yuhao, Tang Dong, and Xiao Xiao had all advanced by a rank. Yuhao was a rank 38 Soul Elder, Tang Dong was a rank 37 Soul Elder, and Xiao Xiao was a rank 33 Soul Elder. They had always been curious as to why their cultivation speed had become so fast. Even Ma Xiaotao could feel that her cultivation speed had become faster than before. Right now, she was very close to becoming a rank 70 Soul Sage. What was going on? Perhaps only Yuhao knew what was going on. Spiritual world, hey! I've finally woken up. Is it really okay for you to refuse to talk to me? A lady wearing bright golden armor and carrying 2 huge golden swords on her back stared at Yuhao. This lady gave off an arrogant and cold feeling. However, she didn't put on any airs in front of Yuhao. Instead, she acted like a little girl throwing a tantrum. Ma, don't be so angry. I'm very grateful for your help, Odd Beast. Thank you for injecting your auspicious energy into my companions' bodies. I'm very grateful to you, and at the same time, welcome home, Qilin. As early as 10,000 years ago, I had a bad feeling about the name Qilin. This is really... The blonde woman did not finish her sentence. Very nice, right? I think it's a very nice name, Yuhao said with a smile. Qilin and Qilin couldn't tell the difference, Yuhao thought. The golden-haired woman in front of Yuhao was the auspicious beast, the Qilin. 10,000 years ago, Yuhao had named her Qilin. That's right, the Qilin had already awakened. Furthermore, it had already awakened when the first seal was broken. At that time, Yuhao had given her 2 missions. One was to help him find a soul beast, and the other was to inject some auspicious energy into his family. Auspicious energy contained all the fortune in the world, and it was all beneficial. The blonde woman was stunned, and a blush appeared on her face. Since you think it's nice, I'll make do with it. Right, I found the soul beast you were looking for. Yuhao suddenly became very serious. You really found it? That soul beast? Even the Ice Empress and Brother Skydream rushed over when they heard this. Did you really find that soul beast? There's actually a descendant of it on Doloa? The two beasts could not believe it. Of course I found it. The blonde woman grabbed a beautiful woman with fiery red hair out of thin air. The woman was wearing a fiery red dress, and there was a trace of fear on her face. I found the heavenly fire phoenix that's about to break through to 900,000 years old. I found it in the heavenly firelands. This little bird is the ruler of that place. The blonde woman smiled. Didn't I tell you to be gentler? Look at how scared she is now. Yuhao scolded. She was the one who attacked me first. She wanted to swallow me to increase her strength. How could I not do something about it? The blonde woman was a little unhappy. Who are you? Where is this place? A red-haired woman looked at them in fear. I'm sorry, Miss Heavenly Fire Phoenix. I'm really sorry. I just want to help you. You don't have any confidence in breaking through to 900,000 years old, do you? I have a way to help you. I can even help you break through to the undying realm. Yuhao said apologetically. What? You are? She looked at Yuhao in shock. Don't worry, I have no reason to harm you. You saw it yourself. They're soul beasts just like you. So, do you agree? If you agree, I can let you live in another form. If you don't, I'll let you go immediately. A red-haired woman looked at Yuhao deeply. Alright. I promise you. Thank you for your trust. I think you'll be satisfied with your host. Her martial soul is also a phoenix, what? Today was the semi-finals. Ma Xiaotao, Dai Yueheng, Ling Luochen, Bei Bei, Su Sanshi, Yuhao and Tang Dong were fighting against people from Xingluo Academy. Yuhao, can you tell how strong Su Jujiu is? Ma Xiaotao asked. She's around rank 50. Her martial soul is the auxiliary type Star Crown. Yuhao's memory wouldn't be wrong. Furthermore, even without this part of his memory, Yuhao could tell her cultivation with his current spiritual power. As for how he could see through her martial soul? Based on his memory. Of course, he could also see through her martial soul. He could see through all disguises, illusions and cover-ups on the stage. The 14 of them were facing each other. It felt as if sparks were about to fly. Princess Jujiu stood at the front of Xingluo's team. She looked calmly at Shrek Academy's team. However, she wasn't looking at Ma Xiaotao. Instead, she was looking at Yuhao. She had a particularly deep impression of Yuhao. He had twin martial souls, a frightening combination of soul rings, and his self-invented explosive talisman. He also had an aura of transcendence and mystery, as well as the calm and negotiating ability he had displayed the day before. Even she couldn't help but admire him. She was curious about this 12-year-old kid. How many more secrets does he have? I'm going to dig out all your secrets in this fight. Yuhao. A look of curiosity and excitement flashed across her eyes. On the other side, Yuhao already knew what she was thinking. The Eye of the Soul was an immortal-level ability in the immortal world. It could peer into the opponent's mental state and memories. It was even more advanced than the soul-searching technique. This was because the Eye of the Soul could peer into the opponent's mind without removing the seal. However, the soul-searching technique carried a certain amount of risk. Yuhao knew how to use it. As for why, it was because his third memory seal contained some memories of the first Dai in the immortal world. Therefore, Yuhao didn't say much about the things that Su Jujiu was thinking about. You want to know my secrets? Alright. Since that's the case, I'll show you a little. The match began. Yuhao from Shrek's team stood at the front. He was going to face 7 people alone? Ma Xiaotao and the rest weren't worried at all. Yuhao had already told them that he had many trump cards that he hadn't used yet. His martial soul was released, and his soul rings were revealed. Everyone released their martial souls and soul rings, except for one person. Yuhao. Princess Jujiu furrowed her brows. What is he planning? In the next moment, she saw something that she would never forget. 9 different colored light projections suddenly shot out from Yuhao's back. Instantly, the entire arena was in an uproar. That was because they were 9 different colored scorpion tails. Red, blue, green, yellow, jade green, purple, brown, black and white tails. 7 of the 9 tails instantly elongated, and 7 of the barbs pierced into the 7 opponents. The last tail, black and white, stabbed into the ground behind him, maintaining his balance. Is this a martial soul? Everyone thought so, but it was impossible. Could it be that Yuhao had a third martial soul? That's impossible. Only a few people with good eyesight could tell what was going on. An external soul bone. Yes, Yuhao was using an external soul bone that he hadn't fused with 10,000 years ago, the 9-tailed Empress Scorpion tail. He actually has an external soul bone? Everyone from Xingluo Academy, the Sun Moon Soul Engineering Academy and Shrek were astonished. The 7 from Xingluo Academy instantly felt their bodies begin to tingle. There's poison. Everyone was aware of one thing. The 7 tails were retracted. Following this, a pair of golden moth wings opened behind Yuhao's back. Instantly, golden light flashed across the entire arena. The 7 from Xingluo Academy were dazzled. Under Yuhao's reminder, the 6 from Shrek Academy closed their eyes in time. They could see their opponents with spiritual detection sharing. The 6 of them closed their eyes and charged forward, unleashing their ultimate moves. Ma Xiaotao was the most ferocious. Yuhao and Tangdong even used their second martial soul fusion skill, the heaven-defying hammer. It was the upgraded version of the Heavenly Emperor's hammer. It was even stronger than before. They even used the Golden Road and the upgraded version of the Golden Light Path. The 7 from Xingluo Academy could only passively defend. However, in less than 30 seconds, Xingluo Academy was annihilated. Yuhao actually had an external soul bone. Furthermore, everyone was astonished once again. Shrek's foundation was actually so strong? This child actually had 2 external soul bones and a torso bone? Even some of the titled Doloa Academy's titled soul masters were envious. Actually, they didn't know that these weren't given to Yuhao by Shrek. They were originally Yuhao's. Even Elder Xian was seeing Yuhao's 2 external soul bones for the first time, as well as their second martial soul fusion skill. How many more trump cards does this child have? His sister's foundation was truly terrifying. 3 soul bones, 100,000-year soul ring. After the battle, Ma Xiaotao's evil fire became somewhat unstable. She hurriedly pulled the weakened Yuhao and ran out of sight, to the bathroom. Ma Xiaotao anxiously grabbed Yuhao as the evil fire in her body surged. She could clearly feel that she was about to lose control. Once she went crazy. The Grand Imperial Star Hotel was located in the downtown area. When that happened, who knew how many people would lose their lives in her madness? More importantly, she, Yuhao, could be the first to die. No. She couldn't hurt Yuhao. Yuhao was already like a little brother to her. Her consciousness was already blurred. She tore apart her own clothes and Yuhao's. After some tossing and turning, the evil fire in her body automatically entered Yuhao's body. After this stimulation, Yuhao instantly woke up. Oh! How could this be? Yuhao's expression was unbelievably shocked. Yuhao fiercely clenched his teeth. Damned evil fire! Freeze yourself! In the instant that he was frozen, Yuhao injected an illusory fiery red figure into Ma Xiaotao's body. Yuhao's eyes finally revealed a trace of happiness. Then, his vision started to blur. This is great. Then, crack, crack, crack. A huge block of ice appeared in the shower. 2 people were frozen inside, naked and hugging each other. After an unknown period of time, Ma Xiaotao slowly woke up from her deep sleep. Her consciousness gradually recovered. The first thing she felt was cold. She had never felt so cold before. Her body uncontrollably shivered. The moment she moved, a series of "Kacha, Kacha" sounds rang out. Amidst her low cry of alarm, the huge ice block began to shatter. Ah! Ma Xiaotao cried out and subconsciously covered her body. Yuhao was also awakened by her cry. When he opened his eyes, he saw that perfect body again. He also subconsciously cried out, "Ah! What a sin! What are you shouting for? You're shouting even louder than me, as if you're at a disadvantage. Hurry up and close your eyes. Put on your clothes and wait for me outside. I won't let you leave. You're not allowed to leave." Ma Xiaotao said angrily. Yuhao wore his clothes and sat obediently on the sofa outside. His beautiful and adorable face was still flushed red. The tuft of blue hair on the top of his head kept swaying. It was quite cute. Ma Xiaotao was wearing clean clothes. She was already 19 years old. Although what had happened earlier was a little embarrassing, she felt different from Yuhao. Thinking back to the feeling of climbing to the peak of bliss under the stimulation of ice and fire, Ma Xiaotao couldn't help but touch her burning cheek. This little rascal! She immediately thought of Yuhao's predicament in Poseidon Lake. However, this time, it was her who was the victim. Wait a minute. Ma Xiaotao carefully sensed her soul power. How is this possible? I'm rank 75? She subconsciously released her soul rings. 2 yellow, 2 purple, 2 black, and 1 red soul ring suddenly appeared. The red soul ring was purer and brighter than any red soul ring Ma Xiaotao had ever seen. There were even 9 golden patterns on it. What is this? Ma Xiaotao was already stunned. Young miss, don't be silly. I've been ordered by my master to become your spirit. I've brought you 3 900,000-year soul rings and a 10,000-year torso bone. Don't be surprised, I'm an existence that coexists with you from now on. My name is Heavenfire, please take care of me in the future. A crisp female voice sounded. In front of Ma Xiaotao, a red-haired beauty suddenly appeared. She was wearing a red dress and looked neat and tidy. You're a soul beast? Ma Xiaotao looked at her in shock. Yes, please take care of me. A red-haired woman smiled and stretched out her right hand. Oh, please take care of me. Ma Xiaotao also subconsciously stretched out her right hand. She felt that she wasn't hostile at all. She wasn't surprised at all. It was just that. Who's the master you're talking about? Ma Xiaotao suddenly asked. She suddenly had some guesses in her heart. Forgive me for not being able to tell you. My master said that when the time comes, he'll naturally tell you. A red-haired woman said. No need, I already know who it is. Ma Xiaotao suddenly interrupted her. That little rascal. He really has a lot of secrets. It seems that young miss has already guessed. Forget it, I can't do anything. Master, you're on your own now. A red-haired woman thought to herself. It transformed into a red light and entered Ma Xiaotao's body. Ma Xiaotao didn't dare to be surprised at all. It seemed that as long as it was related to that little rascal, she wouldn't be surprised at all. Thinking of this, Ma Xiaotao sorted out her emotions and walked out of the bathroom. She saw Yuhao sitting obediently on the sofa with his head lowered and both hands on his knees. There was a blush on his beautiful and cute face, and the ahogue on the top of his head kept swaying. He looked completely like a kitten that had done something wrong. He looked very lovable. Ma Xiaotao was immediately charmed by his cuteness. She subconsciously pinched the swaying ahogue on top of his head. Yuhao suddenly moaned and his whole body trembled, as if he had been electrocuted. He didn't know that the ahogue on top of his head was his most sensitive part. Yuhao suddenly stood up and lowered his head in apology. Sister Xiaotao, I'm sorry, I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't see anything, I really didn't see anything. I won't tell anyone. Ma Xiaotao laughed. No, I should be the one apologizing. I didn't notice that you were in a weak state. Sister Xiaotao, can you let go first? Yuhao said weakly. Ma Xiaotao finally realized that she had been pinching his ahogue all this time, making Yuhao very uncomfortable. Ma Xiaotao immediately retracted her hand, a trace of disappointment on her face. Actually, it felt pretty good. Yuhao, do you want to be my little brother? I've always wanted a little brother since a long time ago. Don't worry, it's very good to be my little brother. If anyone bullies you, I'll burn them to ashes. Ma Xiaotao clenched her fists and said. She had already made up her mind long ago. Yuhao was stunned. He had experienced it before, but why did he feel so touched? Tears slowly flowed down his face, and he said softly, Sister, sister. Ma Xiaotao was very happy when she heard this and hugged Yuhao. That's great. I have a little brother. Don't worry. Little brother, I'll take good care of you. Ma Xiaotao didn't ask Yuhao about that soul beast. She knew that if Yuhao wanted to talk about it, he would. She didn't have to force him. She listened to Yuhao's words and hid her seventh soul ring temporarily. If she met those guys with bad intentions, she would be in trouble. The competition between Sun Moon and Emperor Ao was about to start today. Yuhao and the rest were watching the competition seriously. Xingluo Imperial City. Two people glanced at Yuhao. Brother, I'm not convinced. We could have one. But Yuhao, he has a trump card. Princess Jiujiu said coquettishly. Not convinced? Didn't you participate in the competition to find out his secrets? You've already found out some of his secrets. Why are you not convinced now? The Emperor of Xingluo laughed. When the competition started, he didn't give us a chance to attack. If we had attacked first, we would have the one. She didn't realize that she was a little uncertain when she said that she would win. Hee, do you think that you would have won even if he had let you attack first? You have to tell the truth. No. Su Jiujiu knew her limits. But we can definitely stall him for a while. Hee, do you believe me? Yuhao definitely still has some trump cards up his sleeve. What? He's still hiding them? In the dark, two figures were watching Yuhao, who was watching the competition. Second brother, it's him. The sect leader wants us to bring him back. He wants to make him the young sect leader of the sect. How capable could such a child be? The sect leader wants to make him the young sect leader personally? Furthermore, he's on Shrek's side. His abilities are far inferior to young Master Long's. Although I don't know what the sect leader is thinking, this kid does have a body soul. Furthermore, he has twin body souls. His second body soul is the legendary Frost Dragon King. Furthermore, his body soul is the combination of the eyes and the brain, the spirit eyes. Such a magical martial soul has never appeared in the history of the body sect. There are only a few records that mention its existence. Have you forgotten? The first sect leader made a rule that if a kid had a spirit eyes martial soul in the future, he must be made the young sect leader. Although the successive sect leaders don't know why, there hasn't been a spirit eyes martial soul in the past 10,000 years. We'll go find him later and try to persuade him. If he doesn't agree, we'll forcefully take him away. Yes. After that, the competition ended very quickly. The Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy had entered the finals. Everyone was looking forward to tomorrow's battle between Shrek Academy and the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy. These two old rivals, Yuhao and the others, walked into the Grand Imperial Star Hotel's spacious hall. Just as they were about to go upstairs, they were blocked by two people. Wang Yan, who was in deep thought, was walking at the front. Being blocked by two people, he couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. He raised his head to look at them. They were two men. Their appearances were very ordinary, but their figures were very strange. One of them had an especially thick right arm, while the other was thin and small. His head was extremely large, like a big-headed doll. Wang Yan felt a chill in his heart. He lowered his voice and said, "Please make way." Yuhao's train of thought was interrupted. He furrowed his brows as he looked at the two people in front of him. When he saw their appearance, his pupils shrank. Are they from the body sect? The man with the thick arm pointed at Yuhao and said, You can leave, but this person has to stay. We want to talk to him. Yuhao said plainly, I don't know you. What do you want? The big-headed man looked at Yuhao and smiled. Don't we know each other now? His gaze was very strange. It was unusually gentle. When Wang Yan and Su Sancher saw his gaze, they were in a daze. Tang Dong was only stunned for a moment before he recovered. However, Yuhao wasn't stunned at all. His gaze was still as deep as ever. It was very bright. The big-headed man's brain suddenly trembled. He groaned and took half a step back. The man with the thick right arm hurriedly supported him. Both of them looked at Yuhao with astonishment in their eyes. The big-headed man looked at Yuhao in disbelief. This kid's spiritual power is actually stronger than mine. We don't have any ill intentions. We just want to talk to you, Yuhao. The big-headed man put away his usual arrogance. Since you want to talk, I'll accompany you, Yuhao said. Tang Dong wanted to say something, but Yuhao gave him a reassuring hand gesture. Wang Yan and the others had already recovered. Yuhao's spiritual power could help them recover. They also heard Yuhao's words. Wang Yan was still worried, so he wanted to go with Yuhao. In the lounge, the big-headed man looked at Yuhao and said, Let me introduce myself first. I'm Langya, and this is my brother Yutao. We're from the body sect. As for the body sect, I'm sure you've heard of it before, right? Yuhao's expression was as calm as ever. However, Wang Yan's eyes widened and his pupils shrank. In the world of soul cultivators, the body school was extremely rare, but they were still of very famous existence. Among the few weirdos in the world of soul masters, evil soul masters were undoubtedly the number one. The only group that could compare to evil soul masters in terms of weirdness and strength was probably the body sect. This was because everyone in the body sect had a body soul. In the eyes of many soul masters, the body sect was even more frightening than evil soul masters. Although evil soul masters were strong, they appeared as individuals or in small groups. However, the body sect was a real sect. They were known as the number one mysterious sect in the world. One could only imagine how formidable the body sect's overall strength was. We've received orders from the sect leader to bring you home, young sect leader. Langya looked at Yuhao very seriously. Young sect leader? Wang Yan was stunned as he looked at Yuhao. Yuhao furrowed his brow. I'm not a young sect leader. I don't know what the body sect is. Please leave. Yuhao didn't give them any face. Of course, he knew about the body sect. He also knew that Du Busi had entrusted him. In a sense, he was the future sect leader of the body sect. He didn't have any ill feelings towards the body sect. However, he was disgusted by these two people. After Yuhao finished speaking, he stood up and was about to leave. The two of them instantly changed their expressions. Since young sect leader isn't willing to return with us, then we'll offend you. Yutao, with his thick right arm, suddenly stood up and stretched out his right hand. His thick and long arm almost instantly grabbed Yuhao's shoulder. His arm seemed to be able to stretch out naturally, and with just a stretch, it was more than 2 meters away from him. Yuhao's third eye suddenly opened in between his brows. Yuhao instantly looked over. A majestic suction force from his third eye started to absorb Yutao's life energy and soul power. Ah! Yutao screamed and pulled his right hand back. The two of them looked at Yuhao's third eye in shock. Even Wang Yan was astonished. Your body soul has awakened for the second time? Langya and Yutao looked at Yuhao in disbelief. Yuhao snorted coldly. He touched his third eye with his right hand. Instantly, a green light drilled out and shot towards Langya. Langya's eyesight was still pretty good. He clearly saw what it was. It was a huge, jade-green sword that was more than 2 meters long. Furthermore, they were certain that the suction force earlier was released by it. The two of them felt a dangerous aura. They immediately released their martial souls and soul rings. 4 purple and 4 black soul rings appeared beside them at the same time. They were actually Contra experts. Contra's aura directly shook off the life sword that was flying towards them. A strange thing happened. As the life sword flew backwards, a green light flashed and turned into a beautiful girl with jade green hair. She was about 10 years old and wore a simple white robe. Yuhao immediately caught the girl who was flying backwards. "Little Ling, are you all right?" Yuhao looked at the girl in his arms worriedly. The girl raised her head. Her naturally naive appearance was rather cute. Bai Tong looked at Yuhao blankly, then pointed at Langya and the others. "They want to hurt Master. Little Ling wants to kill them. Idiot, with your current strength, you're no match for them," Yuhao reprimanded. The girl looked at Yuhao blankly and said, "Even if I'm no match for them, as long as little Ling touches them and absorbs their life force, they'll be finished. They want to kill Master, so they deserve to die. Little Ling is truly undying. Apart from Master, even a ruler can't kill little Ling. Master, please don't stop little Ling. Little Ling wants to kill them. How can I not stop you? You're indeed undying, but with your current strength, you're no match for them. You can't even touch them. Little Ling can. No, you can't. Little Ling can. Little Ling definitely can. No, you definitely can't." The 3 light bulbs at the side watched the conversation between the two of them. This girl is the sword just now? The 3 of them were extremely shocked. A sword that had turned into a person was naturally frightening. The 2 of them immediately recovered from their shock and prepared to attack again. At this moment, 2 chicken drumsticks flew over and smashed towards the 2 of them. Bang! The 2 of them were sent flying and crashed into the wall. The 2 chicken drumsticks flew back and landed in the hands of an old man sitting on the sofa who had appeared out of nowhere. The old man gnawed on the chicken drumsticks. "That old monster Du Busi is getting more and more arrogant. He actually dares to steal my Shrek's people?" Elder Xian, Wang Yan and Yuhao were delighted. Little Ling tilted her head and glanced at Elder Xian. "Who's this sloppy old man?" Cough. Elder Xian almost choked. Yuhao knocked Di Ling's head and lectured her. "Don't talk nonsense, call me Elder Xian. With Elder Xian's strength, even if he can't kill you, he's more than capable of torturing you." "Oh, hello Elder Xian." Di Ling greeted Elder Xian expressionlessly. Elder Xian only nodded. He didn't say anything. The 2 of them looked at Elder Xian in fear. "Elder, are you an elder of the Poseidon Pavilion?" Elder Xian said plainly, "To think that you know the name of the Poseidon Pavilion. Hurry up and scram. On account of that old monster, I won't pursue this matter with the 2 of you. You don't have the right to do so. I don't want Du Busi to say that I bullied his juniors. Say, Elder, if we don't bring the young sect master back, the sect master will definitely blame us." The 2 of them trembled as they spoke. They were sure that this old man was from the same generation as the sect master. Otherwise, he wouldn't have called the sect master an old man. Just because he said that Yuhao is the young sect master, it's true? Go back and tell that old man that Yuhao is a member of the Poseidon Pavilion. He's the pavilion master of the Poseidon Pavilion. If he wants to snatch him away, let him come to Shrek personally. Hurry up and scram. Elder Xian snorted coldly. The 2 of them were shocked. They didn't expect Yuhao to be so important to Shrek. They immediately replied in fear, "Yes, we'll scram now." Then, they disappeared. Wang Yan and Yuhao were already stunned. Elder Xian's words just now, "Yuhao is a member of the Poseidon Pavilion and the Pavilion Master of the Poseidon Pavilion," shocked them. "What's the Poseidon Pavilion? Can it be eaten?" Little Ling asked in a daze. "Okay, I admit, she's a naturally naive young lady. Elder Xian and Wang Yan almost fainted from shock. This girl is really, don't always think about eating. The Poseidon Pavilion is the core of Shrek. It was built to commemorate Poseidon Tang San. Huo Yuhao lectured. Poseidon Tang San? So it's him. He's not as powerful as Master. 10,000 years ago, he was defeated by Master. Whoa. Before little Ling could finish speaking, Huo Yuhao covered her mouth in a panic. Hurry up and go back. Don't cause any more trouble. Huo Yuhao shouted at her. Little Ling turned into a green light and entered Huo Yuhao's third eye. Master, little Ling is hungry. I want to eat metal. Little Ling muffled voice sounded in Huo Yuhao's ears. Little Ling was a special life form. She didn't eat human food. She only ate metal, energy, and the life force of any life form. Got it. I'll find one for you after the competition. Huo Yuhao slapped his forehead. However, he had to deal with the two people in front of him who were questioning him. Chapter 46. Elder Xian and the others were sent away by Huo Yuhao's words. At the same time, he told them that he wasn't the young sect leader of the body sect. They were the ones who called him young sect leader. They were sent away just like that. In the body sect, what? You failed? An elder stared at the two people kneeling on the ground. Weren't they Lang Ye and Ning Tao? Please calm down, sect leader. The elder from Shrek's side suddenly appeared. He was a sloppy old man, and he defeated us with 2 drumsticks. Furthermore, he said that young Master Huo was a member of the Poseidon Pavilion. Therefore we… Sloppy old man? Drumsticks? So it's Tao Tai. However, Shrek really went all out. He actually gave him such a big label. It seems like I have to make a trip to Shrek personally, the elder said coldly. Then, sect leader, we'll take our leave. The two of them stood up and were about to leave. Stop. A cold female voice sounded. Instantly, the two of them trembled. The elder revealed a respectful expression and knelt down on one knee. Greetings, Lord Yu. Lang Ye and Ning Tao hurriedly knelt down. They couldn't see through Lord Yu's abilities. Even their sect leader, Du Busi, was very respectful to her. Furthermore, it was said that she had lived for more than 10,000 years. This meant that Lord Yu could be a legendary rank 100 god. A lady wearing a purple dress and a purple veil suddenly appeared in front of the three of them. Her figure was very seductive, but no one dared to have any thoughts about her. This was because she had a katana in a blood-red scabbard on her left waist. The two of you, did you attack him? Lord Yu looked coldly at Lang Ye and Ning Tao. The two of them trembled. Lord Yu Ka. There was the sound of a katana being unsheathed, and a blade radiance flashed. Cha. The two of them turned into a bloody mist and disappeared. The 2 soul bones lay on the ground. Clean up the soul bones and give them to those with potential. Lord Yu closed the katana that she had unsheathed. Yes. Lord Yu. Du Busi said respectfully and fearfully. Lord Yu's abilities were unfathomable. All right. Du Busi, come with me to Shrek in a few days. Lord Yu's voice rang out. Sir, don't tell me you went there personally to capture that Huo Yuhao? Du Busi probed. Whoosh. A bottomless cut instantly appeared on the ground to Du Busi's right. Shut up. He wasn't just grabbing them, he was taking them. If you say anything bad about him again, I'll take your life. Yes. This subordinate knows his mistake. Today was the day of the finals. Shrek and the Sun Moon Soul Engineering Academy were going to fight. This was a fight between 2 rivals. Other than Huo Yuhao, Tang Dong, and Xiao Xiao, everyone else had participated in the first team battle. However, in the end, Shrek's team chose to admit defeat. It was a strategic defeat. Although Ma Xiaotao could directly expose her abilities and crush them, she didn't do so. This was because her heavenly fire had helped her seal her rank 70 cultivation. She knew that she couldn't reveal her abilities so quickly. Furthermore, there were several titled Dolua here. If they saw her 7th soul ring, who knew if they would be greedy for it? A 900,000-year soul ring meant that she had a 900,000-year soul bone. After the battle, Ma Xiaotao and Hui Yuhao's palms clashed. She felt the evil fire in her body being suppressed again. Actually, the heavenly fire phoenix could also suppress the evil fire. Heavenly fire was a flawless fire, and also the king of all fires. It was even stronger than ultimate fire. Even evil fire had to submit to heavenly fire. However, it only submitted to it, not suppressed it. Heavenly fire wasn't like ultimate ice or flawless ice, which could completely suppress evil fire. Just when Ma Xiaotao and Hui Yuhao thought that it was about time, their soul power showed signs of fusing. Hui Yuhao was the first to be astonished, followed by Ma Xiaotao. My soul power can actually fuse with Yuhao's? Hui Yuhao furrowed his brow slightly. After that, he recalled something. There was a scene in his memory that took place at this point in time. It was at that time that he and his sister felt that their soul power and martial souls could fuse. However, after Ma Xiaotao was captured by evil soul masters, the two of them didn't continue to fuse. At that time, the two of them felt that their compatibility was more than 100%. It was even higher than Hui Yuhao's compatibility with Wang Dong's. If they could successfully fuse, they might even be able to create a martial soul fusion skill. However, due to various reasons, they didn't try it. To Hui Yuhao, he had almost forgotten about this matter. However, the fusion of ice and fire had actually appeared once again. Hui Yuhao was certain that his compatibility with his sister's martial soul had surpassed Tang Dong's. In other words, it was more than 100%. Furthermore, if they used a few more days, they would be able to create a martial soul fusion skill. That was what the two of them thought, but time didn't give them a chance. Under everyone's cheers, the two of them could only put this matter aside for now. Su Sancher won 2 of the individual rounds, and even killed his opponent in the second round. Bei Bei won 1 round. Originally, Shrek's team had the advantage. However, Meng Hongqian from the Sun Moon Empire's team defeated Bei Bei and Ling Luochen consecutively. Although Meng Hongqian lost to Daiyuebin in the third round, and the Sun Moon Empire's team admitted defeat, Meng Hongqian also made Daiyuebin lose his ability to fight. In other words, both teams only needed to win 2 rounds out of the final 2, 3, and they would be crowned champions. Under Hui Yuhao's acupuncture, the poison in Bei Bei and Ling Luochen's bodies had been expelled. They only needed to rest for a few days. Hui Yuhao raised his head to look at the dark sky. A few drops of rain fell on his face, and his eyes suddenly became very calm. It's raining, Yuhao. Before Ma Xiaotao could say anything, Hui Yuhao spoke first. Sister, I know what you're planning to do. You must be careful. Be careful of Ma Rulong. Hui Yuhao said to Ma Xiaotao very seriously. Ma Xiaotao was stunned. Then, she laughed. You little rascal, don't you know how strong I am? I can just burn them to ashes. I'll definitely return victorious. After Ma Xiaotao finished speaking, she had already gone up the stage. She suddenly became very serious. She understood that when Hui Yuhao said to be careful of Marulong, it meant that Marulong's strength was definitely not simple. 2, 2, 3, start. Ma Xiaotao versus Marulong and that guy I don't know. Anyway, I don't know him. The match had been going on for a long time. However, Ma Xiaotao was still careless. She was struck by a streak of black light from Marulong's judgment sword, which was enhanced by the Class 7 auxiliary type soul tool, the chapter of sacrifice. Instantly, the evil fire in Ma Xiaotao's body started to rage. Ma Xiaotao lowered her head and clutched her chest. She tried her best to suppress the evil fire in her body. Her entire body was trembling non-stop. If one observed carefully, there were a few streaks of black mixed in the flames around her. The red flames were dyed red and black. After that, they were dyed black. It was a strange black. Following this, Ma Xiaotao stopped struggling. She slowly lifted her head. Her eyes had turned pitch black. Even her fiery red hair was dyed red and black. Oh no! Two people shouted. The first one was Elder Xian, and the second one was Yuhao. Elder Xian naturally knew what Ma Xiaotao's actions meant. It meant that she had gone berserk. On the other hand, Yuhao shouted, "Damn it! What's heavenly fire doing? Why isn't she stopping the evil fire?" Yuhao shouted in his heart. After this, he thought about it and roughly figured out why. The flawless fire and heavenly fire could only make the evil fire submit temporarily. It was only a temporary submission. It could not completely suppress the evil fire. Ma Xiaotao's spiritual sea, heavenly fire looked at the black flames around her. She furrowed her brows. It's a little difficult. It seems like I can only temporarily possess her body to help her. I hope she can still be saved. Otherwise, it'll be bad if Master gets angry. On the stage, the illusory black phoenix behind Ma Xiaotao roared into the sky. Seeing that Ma Xiaotao was about to go berserk, Elder Xian prepared to intervene. However, Yuhao stopped him. "Elder Xian, wait a moment. Look." Yuhao pointed at Ma Xiaotao. Elder Xian looked over carefully. Suddenly, his pupils shrank. That was because the black phoenix was slowly changing color. It was turning a very bright red. Following this, 7 soul rings revolved around her. 2 yellow, 2 purple, 2 black, and 1 red soul ring. Yes, there were 7 of them. How was this possible? Instantly, everyone was in the same state of mind. Everyone cried out in surprise, shock, and astonishment. Ma Xiaotao was actually a 7-ringed soul sage? This was too shocking. In the history of Doloa, the only person who could break through to 7-ringed before the age of 20 was ancestor Tang Yu from 10,000 years ago. He was a monster. According to some ancient historical records, he became a soul sage when he was 14 and a Contra when he was 16. He became a titled Doloa before he was 19. He became a rank 100 god when he was 20. Although everyone was skeptical about this record, and no one believed it. That was a little off topic. Let's continue with the main topic. Ma Xiaotao was 19 this year. She would only be 20 in a few months. A soul sage before the age of 20 was already an extremely strong individual among the strongest soul cultivators. Furthermore, she was a soul sage before the age of 20. She could defeat all the participating students in the tournament. Ma Xiaotao would definitely be a pillar of support for Shrek in the future. That was what everyone thought. Following that, they realized that her 7th soul ring was red. It was a very bright red. If one looked closely, they would see that there were 9 golden patterns on the bright red soul ring. However, some soul masters frowned. How did Ma Xiaotao suddenly become a soul sage? And her 7th soul ring was red? Also, Ma Xiaotao clearly had 6 soul rings before, but now she had a bright red one. Of course, this shocked all the powerful soul masters. No one looked closely at the bright red soul ring. Otherwise, they would have seen the 9 golden patterns. Right now, some of the powerful soul masters had a hint of greed in their eyes. However, they immediately suppressed it. Because she was a student of Shrek Academy. They couldn't afford to offend her. Elder Xian frowned. He glanced at Yuhao and saw that he saw the smile on Yuhao's face. If one didn't look closely, they wouldn't have noticed that the corners of Yuhao's mouth were curled up. Did Yuhao do this? On the stage, Ma Xiaotao raised her head. Her dark red hair had turned bright red. Her pupils had also changed from black to bright red. She glanced at Ma Rulong and the walk-on in front of her. What nonsense is this judgment sword? It's just a piece of scrap metal. How dare it try to judge a phoenix? She said coldly. However, this wasn't her voice. This voice actually carried a feeling of contempt for everything. Suddenly, Ma Xiaotao's torso glowed red. A torso bone. Some of the powerful soul masters stared at the glowing torso in shock. In an instant, with Ma Xiaotao as the center, a 50-meter radius around her turned into a sea of fire. Domain! Some of the powerful soul masters exclaimed in disbelief. Some of the gifted soul masters would awaken a domain after reaching 7-ringed. In their domain, their strength would increase exponentially. This was one of the 2 soul skills of the 900,000-year Heavenly Fire Phoenix's soul bone, Heavenly Fire Domain. In this domain, all fire would be controlled. Furthermore, this domain had an incredible ability. In this domain, the owner of the domain would not die. It was like a raging fire that never stopped growing. Furthermore, in this domain, all fire-type attacks would be doubled. Ma Rulong and the walk-on felt the terrifyingly high temperature around them. Their sweat evaporated, and even their clothes began to melt. In the air, Ma Xiaotao's torso bone glowed again. She had released the soul bone's second soul skill. A pair of illusory bright red wings suddenly spread out behind Ma Xiaotao's back. There was also a long illusory bright red tail. All the fire elements in the surroundings began to attack her body. In an instant, she was like a human-shaped phoenix surrounded by flames. From afar, she was as dazzling as a small sun. Phoenix Sun Incineration. The torso bone's second soul skill. A destructive Yoi attack. Regardless of friend or foe, the small sun charged towards the ground at an extremely fast speed. Ma Rulong and the walk-on felt the arrival of the Grim Reaper. Oh no! Tiansha Dolua cursed inwardly. It wasn't that he didn't want to stop her, but that terrifying aura made even him tremble. He actually felt a trace of fear in his heart. He hurriedly flew out of the arena. In the next moment, boom, boom. There was a huge explosion, and the stage was instantly engulfed in a sea of fire. Even the surrounding space began to distort, but there weren't any screams. No! On the Sun-Moon side, Elder Ma screamed in horror. His son, Ma Rulong, was inside. Under the amplification of the Heavenly Fire Domain, the frightening power of the Phoenix Sun Incineration could even severely injure a Contra. The Phoenix Sun Incineration, the name of the mad demon. In the future, this unforgettable scene would be recorded. After a few minutes, the sea of fire slowly disappeared. There was a burnt smell on the stage. Ma Xiaotao just stood there, and there was a huge sword beside her. Wasn't that the Judgment Sword? However, Ma Rulong and the walk-on's corpses were nowhere to be seen. Silence, complete silence. Whether it was the Emperor of Xingluo, the White Tiger Duke, or the other competitors and spectators, they were all stunned. Even the White Tiger Duke felt the aura of death under that power. This also meant that if he took it head-on, even if he didn't die, he would be half dead. My son. Team leader. Brother Ma. On the Sun-Moon side, Elder Ma, the main team, and the preparatory team exclaimed. Ma Xiaotao glared at them fiercely, and they immediately shut their mouths. She was too frightening. She glanced at the Tiansha Dolua, who was still in a daze. Hurry up and announce the results. The Tiansha Dolua was stunned. Sure. Shrek wins. First, there was silence. Then, there were loud cheers. Ma Xiaotao looked at Shrek's side. To be precise, she was looking at Yuhao. I tried my best. She transmitted her voice. You've worked hard. Yuhao transmitted his voice. Ma Xiaotao smiled. Suddenly, she retracted her martial soul, and her soul ring disappeared. She immediately fell down. Instantly, Yuhao rushed to the stage and hurriedly supported Ma Xiaotao. Ma Xiaotao's evil fire was temporarily suppressed. The possibility of her becoming an evil soul master was greatly reduced. There was only a 40% chance. As for the Judgment Sword, Yuhao took it away. He said that he wanted to use it as a research sample. Originally, the Sun-Moon side wanted to rush up and take back the Judgment Sword. However, because Elder Xian was there, they retreated. After some reorganization, the stage was finally fixed. The second round was about to begin. This was also the last round that would determine the winner. Yuhao and Tang Dong versus Xiao Hongchen and Meng Hongchen. Let's see how a Soul Elder will beat a Soul King. Sister, I have to admit that I was wrong about Shrek Academy in the past. Shrek is really strong. He's ridiculously strong, terrifyingly strong, and mysteriously strong. As expected of Shrek. Xiao Hongchen no longer had any arrogance on his face. His injuries had more or less recovered, and his face was only a little pale. Meng Hongchen sighed softly. If all of their main team members are here, I'm afraid we still won't have a chance. The rain was getting heavier. Yuhao stretched out his right hand. The raindrops hit his palm and strangely, the raindrops froze into ice beads. Crack! Yuhao squeezed hard. Yuhao looked at Xiao Hongchen. Come, Xiao Hongchen. Let me see how strong you are. Xiao Hongchen became very serious. As you wish. Yuhao. Meng Hongchen looked at Yuhao with a strange look in her eyes. Tang Dong seemed to sense something. He looked at Meng Hongchen coldly. What's with that look? Xiao Hongchen, 5-ringed Soul King, Martial Soul 3-legged Golden Toad, Class 5 Soul Engineer. Meng Hongchen, 5-ringed Soul King, Martial Soul Vermilion Ice Toad, Class 5 Soul Engineer. Yuhao, 3-ringed Soul Elder, Martial Soul Spirit Eyes, Icy Dragon King. Tang Dong, 3-ringed Soul Elder, Martial Soul Radiant Dragon King, Heavenly Emperor's Hammer. Both parties released their martial souls and soul rings. Yuhao and Tang Dong's soul rings were very attractive. 1 white, 2 black, and 3 black. The combination of their soul rings was much more impressive than their opponents' 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 1 black soul rings. The Xingluo Emperor and the White Tiger Duke didn't talk anymore. Their palms were pressed against the battlements, and they were nervously watching the match. The White Tiger Duke squinted his eyes, and his eyes shone brightly. When he saw Yuhao, he suddenly had a strange feeling. He couldn't explain it, but Yuhao naturally attracted his attention. He didn't know why. Furthermore, this kid gave him a sense of familiarity. He actually saw Yun'er's shadow in him. Tang Dong opened his platinum-colored dragon wings and flew forward with Yuhao. Meng Hongchen tapped her toes on the ground, and her delicate body flickered. She waved her thin swords gently, and 2 light blades slashed towards Wang Dong's path. He even kindly reminded him, "Be careful." "Thank you for the reminder. You have to be careful too." Yuhao raised his hands, and the rainwater around them suddenly gathered in front of them, forming a water shield. Following this crack, there was the sound of ice forming. It was directly frozen into an ice shield. It blocked the light blades. Meng Hongchen was stunned. He actually gathered the surrounding water elements to form a shield, and froze it into a solid form. This made his defensive abilities very strong. "Aren't you ice-type? Why can you control water-type?" Meng Hongchen didn't understand. Ice is formed by water. Ice is the solid form of water, and water is the liquid form of ice. Therefore, it's not surprising that I can control water. Yuhao explained to her. "I see. I've learned something." Meng Hongchen laughed. Hey, sister, what are you doing? Hurry up and attack. Don't chat." Xiao Hongchen gathered his soul tools behind them and shouted hurriedly. Meng Hongchen released an icy fog which contained lethal poison. Yuhao and Tang Dong curled their lips at the same time. "I'm sorry. My ultimate ice is infinite ice, and all ice can only submit to it. As for poison, ice isn't afraid of poison. My ultimate light can purify all impurities in the world. Frost poison is nothing to me." Suddenly 2 bursts of dragon's might shot out. They dispersed the icy fog and suppressed Meng Hongchen. Meng Hongchen seemed to hallucinate. There seemed to be 2 huge figures behind Yuhao and Tang Dong. One was an icy blue dragon, while the other was a white gold dragon. Following this, something that shocked Xiao Hongchen and Meng Hongchen happened. Around Hui Yuhao and Tang Dong, 6 identical Hui Yuhao and Tang Dong appeared. Avatars? That was what everyone thought. However, some powerful individuals didn't think so. That was because these avatars could move. They also had life. Xiao Hongchen's 100 soul cannons were fully charged. A dark golden chain connected to Meng Hongchen and pulled her back. After this, Xiao Hongchen stared coldly at the 7 Hui Yuhao and Tang Dong that were charging towards them. I don't care which one of you is real or fake. I'll blast all of you to death. 100 soul cannons were fired at once. Boom! 100 soul cannons penetrated the 7 Hui Yuhao and Tang Dong. Instantly, they turned into water and scattered on the ground. They're all fake? Xiao Hongchen and Meng Hongchen were shocked. Suddenly, 2 people hugging each other appeared not far away from them. Behind them, there was a huge vertical eye and a huge illusory golden hammer. They fused with each other. An illusory figure appeared behind them. It was a figure whose appearance couldn't be seen clearly. Only a golden vertical eye could be seen on its forehead. There was also a huge golden vertical eye behind it. Instantly, countless small hammers were spat out from the vertical eye. They started to rotate in an orderly manner. They formed a huge tornado made of small hammers. Third martial soul fusion skill. Illusory Misty, Spiritual Chaos Tempest. Xiao Hongchen and Meng Hongchen were shocked. The 2 of them hugged each other hurriedly and started to fuse their soul power. A beam of golden and icy blue light shot into the sky and instantly engulfed their bodies. Another martial soul fusion skill. Everyone's blood was boiling. Martial soul fusion skill versus martial soul fusion skill. That was something that was rarely seen even in 1,000 years. They actually saw it today. If they didn't remember wrongly, this was Hui Yuhao's 3rd martial soul fusion skill. The beam of light that rose from Xiao Hongchen and Meng Hongchen's side started to change. The beam of light condensed in the air and turned into the shape of a huge toad. The strangest thing was that when the light condensed on the toad's body, its color started to change. The 3-legged golden toad's golden color and the vermilion clear ice toad's icy blue color had completely disappeared. All that was left was a metallic red color. The reddish-gold color made this huge toad, which was 5 meters tall, extremely beautiful. Its eyes were black. When it opened its mouth, a reddish-gold whirlpool could be faintly seen spinning violently in its mouth. It seemed like it was going to spit out at any time. Xiao Hongchen's voice resounded throughout the entire arena. Take this. Hongchen's yearning. The spiritual chaos tempest and Hongchen's yearning collided. The spiritual chaos tempest was only a spiritual attack. If it didn't hit its opponent, it couldn't unleash its full strength. Hongchen's yearning continued to rush towards Hui Yuhao and the others. The illusory figures were about to be engulfed. Tiansha Deluo and Elder Xian were about to save them. However, in the next moment, everyone saw 2 huge figures appear. The illusory icy blue dragon and the white gold dragon started to fuse together. In an instant, bluish gold light filled the entire arena. It covered the entire stage. When the light dissipated, everyone could only see a huge blue-gold egg. Then, Kacha! The eggshell cracked. Roar! 2 loud dragon roars rang out. 2 figures rushed out from inside. One was icy blue and the other was white gold. The icy blue figures were a male and a female. They seemed to be around 20 years old. The male's icy blue hair fluttered in the wind. His skin was fair, and there was a hint of gentleness in his handsomeness. The icy blue armor suited him very well. The icy blue dragon wings were on his back. He held an icy blue halberd in his hand, and he looked like an invincible divine general from the 9 heavens. He was domineering and enchanting. The female had a head of white gold hair that fluttered in the wind. She was extremely beautiful, and her figure was perfect. the white gold dragon wings spread open behind her back. She wore a thin feather coat and a thin rainbow-colored dress. She held a white gold scepter in her hand, and she looked like an otherworldly goddess who had descended to the mortal world. The two of them were like an immortal couple that had been blessed by the heavens. They didn't care about the Hongqin's yearning that was attacking them. The two of them were like a grown-up Yuhao and a female version of Tang Dong. The male threw his halberd into the sky, and it stopped in midair. The male extended his hand elegantly, as if inviting the female to dance. The female accepted it naturally. She also threw her scepter into the air. The two weapons started to fuse in midair, and the two of them started to dance in midair. Their beautiful dance attracted the crowd, and their smiles were mesmerizing. Two huge dragons suddenly appeared above their heads, the icy blue dragon and the white gold dragon. In that instant the sky changed color. The top was icy blue, while the bottom was white gold. An invisible force immediately dispersed the Hongqin's yearning. The two weapons fused into a light projection. It was a long spear, and it rushed towards Xiao Hongqin and Meng Hongqin. The force directly knocked the dazed Xiao Hongqin and Meng Hongqin off the stage. After the dance, the long spear flashed again. It turned into a halberd and a scepter, and returned to the male and female's hands. Then, the two of them smiled and bowed at a perfect 30-degree angle. Today's dance of the twin dragons ends here. Thank you for watching. The male and female voices sounded. Then, the two of them released an icy blue and white gold radiant. The radiance dissipated, and Yuhao and Tang Dong supported each other. Yes, they'd won. Instantly, the entire arena was in an uproar. They were cheering. Prince Charming. Goddess. These were the cheers that were the most common. Tiansha Delua Huang Jinshu took in a deep breath. Then, he said loudly, "This year's Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Soul Dueling Tournament has ended. The final champion is the Shrek Academy." The cheers reached a peak after his announcement. The entire Xingluo Plaza was in an uproar. Even the nobles and ministers of the Xianra Empire couldn't help but shout. Xingluo's emperor Su Jiawei was a little flushed. He was also very emotional. That devastatingly beautiful figure was also imprinted in the depths of his heart. Compared to him, the White Tiger Duke was a lot calmer. He looked at the pair of youths who were hugging each other and smiled. "You've achieved success at such a young age. You'll definitely achieve great things in the future." After that, it was time to announce the rewards. 3 soul bones, the champion's reward, and the ice jade scorpion left arm bone. It was specially given to Yuhao. Everyone knew what happened after that. After a few days, everyone finally returned to the Shrek Academy. They were treated like heroes. Bei, Yuhao, and the rest were conferred the title of Shrek 7 for life. Their deeds were recorded in the annals of history. The 7 of them also came to the Poseidon Pavilion. They were unconditionally conferred the title of Inner Courtyard Disciples. The 7 of them could cultivate in the high-grade cultivation room for a month in a quiet room in the Poseidon Pavilion. Ma Xiaotao was lying quietly on a large bed that was completely white and smooth. She looked very weak, and her face was very pale. 2 people were quietly standing beside the bed. The one on the left was the dean of the Shrek Academy's Martial Soul Department, Yan Xiaozhe. The one standing beside him was an old man with 1 foot in the grave. The old man didn't seem to be able to straighten his back. Although he was standing there, his back seemed to be bent at a 90-degree angle. He was using a walking stick to support his body. "Teacher, what do you think of Xiaotao's state during the competition?" Yan Xiaozhe asked the old man. "I can feel that Xiaotao's evil fire has been temporarily suppressed by an enormous force within her body. Furthermore, Xiaotao's phoenix flames seem to be undergoing a metamorphosis. The flames are automatically repelling the evil fire. If the repelling succeeds, Xiaotao's flames will surpass all other flames. She'll even be able to surpass the solar core fire if she's given enough time. She might even be able to reach the flawless fire realm recorded in Dolua's virtues. She'll be a powerful martial soul that's on par with Yuhao's flawless ice. Doesn't Yuhao possess ultimate ice? He doesn't possess ultimate ice. He definitely doesn't. How can the Glacial Dragon King's martial soul be as simple as ultimate ice? You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.